This is a Clouds weather alert.
Good Sunday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center giving you the latest information right now on a severe weather outbreak situation as it impacts especially parts of Texas and moving into toward Oklahoma here. We're talking about areas closer toward that Texas panhandle. I know just a few moments ago we got a report of a gust, and it's still being verified, but it looks like it's legitimate according to the Weather Service information so far out of the area around Memphis, Texas. I'll go ahead and zoom in actually. This gust is something that you rarely see, and it's showing up in our system here with the potential of that wind there in that destructive range because of the reading to 114 miles an hour. So just pretty incredible to hear stuff like that here. This red area is where this threat is supposed to maximize, so we're just starting to get on the very western edge of this. So we have this significant threat here for hurricane force gusts to be moving into toward areas here in Oklahoma. A serious situation, and folks, as I go ahead and move this around, I'll just kind of look at the map with you here. You just need a chart of those devices, especially in this red area. We really have to be paying attention here for those folks in this red area, because this is a dangerous situation that we're going to see maybe a derecho type event, meaning we could have widespread power outages here in this red zone. So this could be very serious. Weather Service there in the Norman area saying linear convective area there currently producing destructive wind gusts moving into southwestern Oklahoma with a more discrete storm in west central Oklahoma. And in the next 1 to 2 hours, sufficient surface-based instability appears to remain over, looks like western Oklahoma here to maintain a tornado threat, a more widespread threat of destructive winds, possibly upwards of 80 to 100 miles an hour in some instances, and mobile homes will not be safe tonight. They're saying, this is from the Weather Service, over the western half of Oklahoma, especially along and south of I-40, and the significant tornado parameter does seem to maximize around 6 in west central Oklahoma around 1Z. So just some information from them. We got to be really careful here. Things could be very odd here as we're looking toward Oklahoma, as these threats are not something you typically see, much less in February here. This is something you'd see later on, maybe toward May. Now the tornado threat not quite as high as some of our outbreaks here in the past, but that wind threat is about the highest it could ever be here. So again, mobile homes not safe places to be in some of these areas here in western Oklahoma based upon what the Weather Service is thinking, and I agree with them 100%. These winds could tear apart some mobile homes even potentially in the worst situations. 114-mile-an-hour wind, that's nearly major hurricane type of winds, and we're just starting to see those readings come in. So that's why it's so important that people chart up their devices here toward Oklahoma City, toward Tulsa here, folks. You see Altus, you're on the edge of this. It's coming right on in here over the next little bit. You see this box. I'll go ahead and take off our layer there, our SPC layer, and you'll be able to see that our outline here, I have it in another mode so we can identify where the most destructive wind gust potential is. And that's where we have this orange and black outlined warning. They're saying 90-mile-an-hour gusts possible toward the community there of Eric, as well as Savory, if I'm pronouncing that right, Hollis, and Magnum as well. So zooming out a little bit, this is a life-threatening situation where we had recorded wind speeds over 100 miles an hour with this line of storms. This warning in particular that I just clicked on here is for southeastern Rogers Mills County there, Roger Mills County there in western Oklahoma, as well as northwestern Jackson County, even over toward Harmon County, Greer County, Beckham County, and then getting into where Texas, we're talking about northwestern Hardeman County. So I gotta be really careful here in this type of situation. These winds here, as we look aloft, are just really looking nasty, and that can lead to big time problems as this wind energy gets transferred down to the surface. As we look maybe over toward areas later on like Oklahoma City, Norman, El Reno, Moore, these winds here just could be so strong. You're not preparing typically for Category 1 type hurricane winds, but that's definitely something that could happen here. Again, we've talked about even winds higher than that within this line. The threat seems to be really coming into play. Sometimes these are uncertain, and we've kind of been playing it here by ear, really. We posted earlier this morning about the threat being significant, that moderate 4 to 5 risk that you rarely see here, especially in February. We also really haven't had a tornado in February in Oklahoma in a long time. That's going to change here tonight. No doubt we'll have some spin ups along this, and maybe a strong one developing just because of the overall wind pattern. But destructive wind potential is just so serious. We just got a report of a gust of 62 knots in Childress, so we're talking about winds closer to 70 miles an hour. So as we're looking toward Childress, Texas. So let's go ahead and zoom on in a little bit. You see that right on the edge of the map there. That destructive wind is coming right on in. In fact, I want to go to our other radar source because I have it up. 71 miles an hour is what it's showing now on our GR level 3 computer and on our Frederick, Oklahoma radar site. I'll be able to go in depth a little bit more here as we're looking in Childress County right now. Right along, it looks like US 287. So over toward US 62 there, we're watching this big potential. You see the winds here, 70, 80, 90 on our velocity. Again, they could be even higher as we've alluded to. Have to watch for these quick spin ups here too. You see that rotation right tight there as we're looking just east of Dodson there as we're looking toward Harmon County. So got a complicated scenario here, but everybody understood a thunderstorm morning and night. I would treat that here, especially if you have that destructive warden in it, I would treat it as if you need to get an interior room away from windows, putting as many walls between you and the outside. Maybe put a football helmet on or bicycle helmet on. I know when you have the destructive severe thunderstorm warnings, you get that across your mobile device. It is pushed out there as if it's a tornado warning, and these are tornado-like winds that we're talking about in some instances. So we have to be really careful. That's why we went on live on all the platforms here, because we wanted everybody in the whole country to know about this, because this is an odd situation. Maybe, and hopefully it's not, but it could be reminiscent of the Iowa derecho in 2020. That derecho there, as we were looking there in December of 2021, as we were getting up and toward the northern part of our country, there were some big-time problems from those two. That 2021 was really a surprise. The 2021 one was not as much of one, and then this one really wasn't a surprise either in some ways, because it's been talked about this threat for a while. It's something folks in the local regions should have been preparing for. There's still a little more time to prepare if you're in Oklahoma City, around Stillwater, talking about Oklahoma State University in Stillwater. Of course, the University of Oklahoma there, in toward Norman. So, talking about OU, of course. So, we're just going to keep watching things as we get out there in toward that state. Just going to keep on watching things here. As we are watching the overall weather pattern as it does progress. We're getting information out of Lubbock, Texas, northeast of there. Some siding ripping off atop of a roof, and a dust storm there, high winds, blowing dust there. Looks like portions of I-25 closed near Atulia, possible accidents, but the scope of the issues are not confirmed. So just got to be really careful here. Just got to be really careful in this type of situation as we're looking at some of our different metrics here. We're just going to keep watching. You see Harmon County, that's really looking bad. Whether it's a tornado or straight line wind there right near McKnight, we're going to see quite a bit of wind damage there, no doubt, and power outages right around McKnight there. We're just, as we look at the topography, just into Oklahoma there. And we need folks taking shelter there as we're around McKnight. It's probably, too late really there. But you see Magnum, Oklahoma, or Mangum. I'm not 100% sure on that pronunciation, but nonetheless, you need to be taking those tornado precautions there in that area as well as the tornado-like winds or a tornado itself comes on through over the next little bit. So, weather service now seeing there's more circulation to the north, southwest of the community of Eric, and near Cheyenne. So let me zoom out a little bit more here. Let's go ahead and zoom on out. Strong City, all storms quickly moving to the east, northeast over 50 miles an hour. So I know you see Cheyenne there in Roger Mills County. That's rated kind of on the edge there, but we're just going to keep watching things, keep track. I'm going to reset. This actually gets more to the Vance Air Force Base radar with a better look at it, so that's why we switched. And you can see some of that rotation around Cheyenne, Oklahoma, but I know these are areas you're maybe not as familiar with, but contrast what we saw this morning with the outlook. The threat was a little lower toward Oklahoma City and Tulsa. That is not really the case anymore. That threat has increased for Oklahoma City, for Tulsa, for Stillwater, for Norman, for Moore. So Roy's got to charter those devices here. The mobile homes are not great places to be. And we're talking about these threats here later on moving on in towards some very highly populated areas, but we're still concerned about the rural areas here. You see Elk City, we mentioned them this morning in our post, and that wind's going to be coming there pretty soon. Let me switch back to our other radar if we can, the Frederick, Oklahoma radar site. Just trying to give you guys the latest information here. You can see Harmon County, Oklahoma. Again, this right here, this wind is just so strong in this area. You can really see that. And are getting more updates now. A tornado warning continuing for parts of Greer and Harmon counties there at 7:13 local time. It's the fifth thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It was located 4 miles south of Vinson, moving east at about 70 miles an hour here. So we have to just be really careful. If you're careful, you'll be okay more than likely. But you can't be letting your guard down, even if you don't have a tornado warning for your area toward parts of Oklahoma. These could be some of the stronger winds and strongest winds you've seen in years here toward parts of these regions, outside of a tornado situation that might have moved through your neighborhood in the past. But even in some ways, I mean, some of these winds could be close to that, as we've alluded to already in that range. So got to be really careful here. This is an unusual situation. It's something we don't see that much, never really in February in this part of the country. So it's because of all that heat energy, though, that pattern. We had all that cold air out west. We've had the warm air out east, and we now are unfortunately seeing some of those consequences here of the warmer air in play and the overall pattern catch up with us. We had the great weather now to the east, and we're still going to have that in our local area here as we look ahead for much of this week. Toward Friday, though, another threat's going to be coming into play, maybe even a more significant toward like Jackson, Mississippi on Thursday, and then that'll translate right now officially our South Georgia counties are now under a risk of severe weather on Friday. We're coming in an update back here on Thursday when we were live for that threat. That was 8 days out. It's getting a little closer now than that, but South Georgia north, the threat is already in play officially, but even our North Florida counties have to watch toward Friday. So be aware. It's Sunday now. We've still got several days to go. Our logo is red for now because of this threat, but more than likely the logo is going to just stay red because of the next threat here in play. So that's what kind of is the storyline regarding all of that. So we're just going to keep watching this here. I know we again have to watch for Oklahoma City, but let's get back in the areas currently that we're discussing. You see Cottle County in Texas. The community of Paducah, Texas here. Some very strong winds are moving through. According to the Weather Service, these could be 80 miles an hour here. Destructive storms for central and eastern Childress County, Cottle County, and eastern Motley County. So eastern Childress, Cottle, and eastern Motley County. Destructive winds there, destructive storms there. Up to the north here, you can see Hollis. They're getting this right now here in Harmon County. These are some very, very unique radar signatures. You just see the contrast there from not much rain to the heavy, this extreme downpours that are so quickly coming into play here, and that's problematic as we're looking toward Arizona and Hollis there. Eventually, you see a little bit of that rotation in play, and that's why there's a tornado warning up there, maybe a bookend vortex, what you'd call that, really, as we're watching things up toward Vinson there. And then as we see, again, Mangum, I believe that's the pronunciation versus Magnum there as I think about that, and just storms of the past. But you see Greer County there in Oklahoma. We're watching now. We're looking up toward Beckham County there. You see the community there of Eric. You see Sayre there. Again, and the problem is, as bad as this is already, Cheyenne, Oklahoma, I mean, these are not towns you're familiar with maybe on a national level, and you're kind of wondering why we're doing coverage on other platforms. Well, the reason is this threat is supposed to pretty much stay intact now, and it's in very highly populated areas with hurricane-like conditions, a possibility. Hopefully, the models are kind of wrong on this and things break up on us quicker than anticipated. It's a possibility, but right now the more likely scenario is that we have hurricane-force gusts moving toward Oklahoma City here in the next couple of hours, give or take. In fact, let me give you a little update on the timeline there. I'm going to go back to other source because I can kind of try to time this out. It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to try to time this out as we're live with you guys. This is moving here off toward the northeast at 95 miles an hour. It's such a quick moving scenario. I know you look at the radar a few moments later, things change. By the way, there's the dust out toward the west there being reported, talking about areas in Potter County, Texas, around Amarillo, a dust situation there, more dust there, blowing dust, thick blowing dust, closing portions of I-27 there, accidents in that region as we alluded to. and gusts as high as 76 miles an hour. They're behind the line, and that's an issue as well. Even if you think the storms are over, you can't begin to clean up necessarily right away as we're looking to the east because we have the winds, maybe the hurricane force even after the main line. We'll see how much of that kind of stays intact later on. Sometimes it's more magnified in the Texas Panhandle, this type of threat, but we'll see. Just got to be really careful. So let's give it a time though. We're talking about storms moving northeast at 95 miles an hour. So to Oklahoma City, that's only about an hour and a half to Oklahoma City there, give or take. Then so that gets you about 8:50 Central Time, give or take. That's a rough guess here at this point. By the way, it's a thunderstorm warning way down to the south outside the risk area now because the winds are just showing up so strong. Even with the lighter rain, the wind fills are just so strong here that the winds are being transported down to the surface here, folks. So really a problem as we get an update here. National Weather Service out of Norman talking about some different things. I'm going to zoom out real quick here as we continue along with the coverage. I just want to kind of give you some more information. So you can kind of see this risk area here again. Lower risk down toward Dallas. But you can see our 4 to 5 danger here in the heart of Oklahoma, really. And the latest update on the tornado warning there is that one continues toward parts of Custer as well as Dewey, Ellis, Roger Mills, and Woodward counties in Oklahoma. So just got to keep watching this type of threat here. Considerable damage possible toward Cottle County in Texas as well as Dickens County, Kent, Keene, Motley, and Stonewall. They're about 8:15 local time. Considerable damage possible there. We'll go ahead and take this off. There's a tornado watch here in play toward the west, but we have a mesoscale discussion that says it's going to get extended here. The threat will be extended downstream, portions of central and eastern Oklahoma and to southern Kansas. And I haven't really had time to read over this, but one thing that's a little bit of a conundrum here is the tornado threat is high enough that you kind of have to issue a tornado watch. But really, if the tornado threat wasn't high enough, you'd probably go with a particularly dangerous situation, severe thunderstorm watch. But the tornado threat isn't high enough to go PDS tornado watch. So it kind of makes things look maybe not quite as bad as they actually are. So keep that in mind here. That's just kind of my thinking here based on history of stuff. But again, you can see here on our mapping right now, there's just a big time threat in play with these warnings out toward the west. The southerly low-level jet has increased to 60 to 70 knots, while the southeasterly low-level winds continue to transport better quality moisture, according to the Storm Prediction Center, northward. And the dew points here, they're going to be a big factor. So let's go ahead and look at some of those. We'll go ahead and put those on the screen right now. And you can see 50s, 60s here on the board. They're sufficient enough in these type of situations. The winds we're seeing to cause problems, and these temperatures are unseasonably warm here for this time of year. I mean, they're not extremely hot. I mean, look at the temperatures in Texas and where we're at. We're based in North Florida. I know we're currently right now at 67 degrees here east of Stark. So that's something to kind of keep in mind just from the our local viewer perspective. But we're not seeing this everywhere here, though. Again, no local threat here in play tonight, and really probably not going to have a threat until about Friday here, but that could be something we really have to watch on Friday. The threat could be pretty significant here, especially maybe to the north, but even locally it could be as well. We got to still iron out the details, and now we got to get past this threat here, which could have, again, maybe not the strongest of tornadoes here in most cases, but some tornadoes here that could kind of spin up quickly and then enhance that wind threat that's already pretty significant, maybe even historic. I mean, really, the wind threat here for this time of year, for this area of the country, and just the overall magnitude of this wind threat could be historic here. That's why we're kind of on the air with you guys right now, because this can be really problematic. And they're now getting reports of a confirmed tornado. This is from 7 minutes ago, but this came across here, crossing Highway 30, south of the road there, 1280. So if you guys are familiar with that here, that's some information coming on into the chat there. The Norman chat is in their jurisdiction, but out to the west there and out here as we look in toward this picture. So again, getting more information in destructive winds, 90 miles an hour possible as we're looking toward Beckham, Greer, Harmon, Jackson, Roger Mills counties in Oklahoma and Hardeman County in Texas. And 75-mile-an-hour wind gusts there reported there at the community of Gold. It just came in. So the community of Gold now gusts to 75 miles an hour. So really got to be on top of things here tonight. We're going to go ahead and zoom back out a little bit here. I know as we look at the picture, you can see some cortex to the north, maybe getting some mixed precipitation here, but actually not really seeing that as they go to our other mode. You're not seeing the METAR reports since that here. At this point, you see, of course, wintry weather with the reports out to the west there, though. And we are going to get wintry weather in the northeast from all that's here toward maybe New York City getting some snow there. I know we kind of haven't seen much here for a while there, but going to start getting into some of that. So I'm going to check to see if there are any questions from the viewers right now as we continue live here at 7:23 Central Time, 8:23 Eastern. I'm going to just see what's going on here right now with our chat. See if there's anything happening here that I need to be aware of in terms of maybe a viewer kind of getting maybe more information on something, but I don't see anything right now. So if you have anything, though, just pass them along. I'll try to do my best to answer them live here on the air. But again, we're just continuing to watch the situation right now as we look there. You see Oklahoma City. You see Oklahoma City here. They'll be under a watch very soon, no doubt. Areas like Enid, Oklahoma, Stillwater. You see Ada, Ardmore. You see Tulsa, McAllister there. We're going to be watching these areas here with this threat coming into play. So, again, we're just continuing to give you the latest. You see Wichita there. The threat of a new watch for you guys in Sedgwick County. It looks like it's there. I'm saying and seeing here that there will be a new watch issued there. It looks like across central Kansas. Not seeing the warnings though right now, so I mean they can always change their mind, but that's from just a little while ago though. So based on their information, they're going to issue a new watch as of that discussing that came out there towards Sedgwick County and Wichita and south central Kansas. But new tornado warning now. Observed tornado. We're talking about areas there. Looks like we could have 2-inch hail as well now toward Beckham, Greer, Harmon, Kiowa County, as well as Ouachita County there in Oklahoma. 724, this confirmed tornado is located 9 miles east of Vinson, moving northeast at 65 miles an hour here. So just got to be careful. There's your new box again, a confirmed tornado there. And you see Hobart, Oklahoma here. This is Weather Spotters confirmed. We were talking about a report coming in a little while ago. So you see Mangum there. You see New Cordell or Cordell, depending on the pronunciation. So the community is Sentinel there. So just got to be really kind of careful here. You see all this rotation. Some of this will kind of magnify a little bit higher because of the overall wind pattern. But with the confirmed tornado here, definitely got to be careful. The confirmed tornado, 9 miles east of Vinson. But even with the wind threat, you got to be careful as well. So don't kind of let that guard down. Let me go ahead and do a couple things real quick. I'm going to take the watch off for a moment, the background at least. I'm going to also take off our severe thunderstorm warnings for the considerable and just keep the destructive on here to kind of clean things up. And also take off just the regular one in the south too. But you can see here, this is where we have the destructive winds around Paducah and or Texas right now. So maybe winds of 80 miles an hour. So we got to be careful there. You see moving past Childress now, but we have some other areas downstream. See Altus in Oklahoma downstream here. Right at a gust there. They're near Hollis, 75 miles an hour. You see Mangum there. You can get an idea. All that lightning there showing up too. That's kind of problematic here as we look at some different things. That lightning is really showing up in that area. I mean, it's along this line in a big way, but it seems like it's folding back a little bit further in, and that could be indicative of a problem. We've already had a confirmed tornado, of course, reported, but could have more of that. It may be popping down to the ground, popping back up, popping back down. So you can see here towards Cheyenne, Oklahoma, there's some lightning. We'll have to keep watching. This seems a little bit heavier in intensity to the south. We'll see. It could just be the way the radar is hitting things, but I know they're talking about in the Tulsa area that they're just seeing the winds there at 1 kilometer, very strong, 79 knots. So that's really concerning. This is why they said we were going to get strong and very strong winds to the ground in and behind the storms. I mean, the rain, the downpour, they're going to be transporting the wind more so, more destructively, and maybe having tornadoes within them. But these wind fields are just really incredible and problematic. So got to be really careful. Thankfully, I haven't had a gust to 114 in a while. I hope that was an anomaly. The Weather Service didn't necessarily think so, but we had that reported toward the community of Memphis, Texas there. That threat is here tonight. I mean, it's definitely here. I just haven't seen those type of numbers here in the last little bit. But you see, we have our issues right now. Let me take off the radar for a moment. You see the tornado warnings in play. There's 4 of them with the confirmed one, and then you have our destructive severe thunderstorm warnings, not as damaging but destructive there. And you also have some other issues as well. Put the considerable ones back on, and our base one to the south as well. We'll also put our watch field back in, and just give you guys an idea of what's going on. So I think we're going to take a break here for the time being as we continue to gather new information as these storms get into more populated areas, cause more problems here. So I'll be back in about 9 minutes. So keep it tuned here. Thanks so much for trusting me to keep you, your friends, your family safe for this national level threat here as we get another update. Confirmed tornado now. It looks like there as we're looking toward Custer, Dewey, Ellis, Roger Mills, and Woodward counties there with the warning in play. This was near Angora, so moving northeast at 70 miles an hour. Let me see what's going on with that. Is that actually, do we have a debris signature on that? Because if we, okay, we do, so we haven't been able to see one of those yet. Let's see if we can send this to you. There may be something in there. I looked at one earlier. It was kind of hard to pick out, but this may be the debris signature they're talking about. This northeast of Strong City here. So yeah, right in there. Looks like it could be something. Potential tornado in that area. They're talking about near Angora. So we're just seeing this thread. I don't see that city popping up on the map here at the moment, but some of the cities too small to show up on some more maps. We're also getting reports of power lines blown down west of the community of Sayre there. So as we zoom back the map now, just wanted to let you know about that confirmed tornado, because when your box here on the screen turns purple, that's indicative of a confirmed tornado by their radar or by a spotter. So just want to let you know about that and let you know of the colors of those too, because when we're off the air, you'll kind of get indication here when we're taking a break if something's been upgraded here with that overall threat in play. So keep it tuned here to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you up to date. I'm going to gather more details. I'm back in about 9 minutes unless something really takes a turn on us.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center. We're at about, it looks like 7:39 Central Time, 8:39 Eastern on this Sunday, tracking severe storms and a severe weather outbreak situation toward parts of Oklahoma and still lingering toward parts of Texas as well. Just getting an update here from National Weather Service meteorologist Todd Lindley here at the office there in Norman, Oklahoma, saying that mesoscale storm scale update suggests dangerous bow and QLCS segment from looks like Mangum and Granite to Willow, and the environment ahead of the segment is favorable for locally intense damage and wind gusts of 80 to 100 miles an hour. Multiple circulations within this complex will remain possible, capable of a transient tornado threat, but emphasize that mobile homes are telling the meteorologists that emphasize them they're not safe in the warned area because the damage and wind potential is just so high. So got to be really careful here as we're looking at things toward these areas. As they zoom on in, these winds are just so significant that we could see more homes maybe flip depending on the overall setup there. Maybe just things really damaged on them and causing some issues, maybe injuries, maybe something even more serious. But just got to be really careful here. As we're watching things, as we look right now, you see this tornado warning, Mangum to Hobart, it looks like New Cordell. We're talking about a confirmed tornado within this threat. So this is western parts of Washtenaw County, as well as northwestern Kiowa County, northeastern Harmon, central Greer, and southeastern Beckham. So a new tornado warning just be an issue now for Greer and Kiowa County, or Kiowa. Again, I'm not 100% sure on that pronunciation. It may vary a little bit there, but again, I just want to try to let you guys know that there's not a radar indicated tornado threat there on this area that I'll point out for you guys. It's pretty easy to see for meteorologists, but maybe not so much for the viewer. But you can see this area right here kind of bending back, that little hook there on here, just north of it. Looks like the community of Blair, and just southwest of Hobart. So again, I'm just going to be really watching things here. Take those tornado precautions within this red box here. We have this tornado threat here in play. Let's go ahead and just look at our rotation tracker as well here, because that shows a pretty significant rotation here on our map. So we just have to be really careful here as we get north Oklahoma further, and then eventually toward areas closer to the OKC metro, because that'll be a problem. We have this severe thunderstorm warning, this destructive threat here. We could have winds at 80 miles an hour around Hobart. So looks like Altus there, these gusts there so significant, as well as ping pong ball size hail. I mean, can you imagine 80 mile an hour winds driven and driving that ping pong ball size hail? That would be really problematic as we're looking towards some of these areas there in central Oklahoma, and even right now ongoing in western Oklahoma. You see Elk City, they're getting into some of this. We talked about them this morning. They're getting into some of this destructive type threat, maybe even a little more so and worse of a threat there toward Hobart, Oklahoma. Got to be in the interior room away from windows by putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. A football helmet, a bike helmet, they're preferable to really protect yourself from potential head injuries because of that flying debris. And keep your shoes on because of the damage and the aftermath. This damage here could be pretty significant. So we just got to be really on guard for that, as that could be cutting your feet up, something of the like. So I just got to be really, really mindful of all this potential here that is in play towards some of these different areas here. With a tornado, severe thunderstorm, we have the mobile home threat, of course. You really would rather not want to be in one of those here if you can help it. I mean, because these winds are so strong toward, especially the destructive severe thunderstorm warnings and then the tornado warnings, obviously. So I'm going to take off the regular ones for now. And I even take the considerable off. Still considerable. You could still have problems in a mobile home, no doubt. But just to kind of focus on the absolute worst of the threat at the moment, you can see here we currently have 3 destructive severe thunderstorm warnings and 1 regular tornado warning and 2 tornado warnings for tornadoes on the ground. So anybody here that take off the watch, by the way, new watch was issued there toward Oklahoma City, Tulsa. That's a new tornado watch now until about 1 a.m. Central Time. So got to be watching there for a while for a destructive wind threat and a tornado threat. But taking off that layer, you can see here the magnitude and the scope here of the actual warnings in play. So again, that's a pretty big warning here that we're talking about from Elk City, Weatherford down to Altus. You see Lawton there. They're going to be getting some of this here over the next little bit as well. So let's go ahead and pull back some other information. I know power outage is a big concern, so chart up the devices, especially Oklahoma City and Tulsa. You still have a little bit of time here to chart up those devices because you still are a little bit further out from this. As we just keep getting crazy gusts, even out. I mean, we don't have any rain here anymore, and it's not something we generally be on for, but because we're outside the rain. But it's a big deal down toward Lubbock there. As we're getting into the area, we're getting gusts. There's 70, 80 type mile an hour there. I'm looking at the knot and trying to do the knots conversion, but gust there, 67 there knots, and then also 1 to 58 knots here recently outside of the range. So that's blowing dust, causing some roof damage here toward it looks like Lubbock County there in the panhandle of Texas, or really, I guess you could say even extended further a little bit down there from what you would call the areas there. Maybe I'm not exactly sure on that geography, but I would say I'm going to start to get down more into toward Texas there, not the actual panhandle itself. But going ahead and looking here at some information here at the present time, Hobart there in Oklahoma, you can see this is about to come into you guys. You're already getting the conditions deteriorate right now. The community of Lone Wolf getting into toward some of this. That's an odd name, but you can see that here right into toward this area here within our tornado warnings overlapping. In fact, you're getting some very heavy rain, maybe some hail mixing in. That's something that we haven't advertised as much here, but there is some hail showing up within this. I mean, down to the south there, just south, and it looks like in west of Lugert and northeast there of Blair, you're seeing hail about 0.8 of an inch in diameter. It could be a lot bigger, though, based on some of the warnings I've seen. They're going golf ball size in the warning in the south. So that could be a little bit tricky here on us. I mean, you definitely don't want a ping pong ball size hail being driven by 80-mile-an-hour winds, which kind of was being suggested here a moment ago. So hopefully that didn't happen, but obviously that could add to the destruction there. I mean, with stuff being driven, it's like, I mean, like in a hurricane where you have pieces of wood there flying around potentially. So that can be really problematic. I don't want to overhype this or anything like that, but I'm just saying that's what can happen here based on the overall setup that we're dealing with. I mean, a gust there, again, even on the back side of this, is 66 miles an hour there in Garza County, Texas. So 5 miles south-southwest of Graham there. These winds are just still really strong as we're looking at things, and new severe thunderstorm warning for the 60-mile-an-hour winds, still significant, I mean, for the local viewers there, but maybe not for our national level threat. But this is toward Woodward County, Oklahoma. I know many years ago, maybe a decade or so ago, I remember we had a situation where the threat seemed to be winding down for the time being, and we had a significant tornado go right through the community of Woodward, Oklahoma. Had fatalities up there. So you're not seeing that type of threat right now or anything in that realm, but it just goes to show you always got to make sure you don't let your guard down in severe weather situations as we look at different things. So I know Knox County is getting the action now. The severe thunderstorm warning that's to be hidden soon there, getting in here as we do have a new severe thunderstorm watch for the Wichita area and Sedgwick County. And then as we get up toward Oklahoma City there in the OKC Metro, you're in that tornado watch now. If it goes to 1 a.m., that tornado threat won't last that long because it'll be moving more off toward Tulsa there and toward some of those communities. But you still have the backside winds that can be problematic there as we look here in Tulsa later on. But Oklahoma City there, even after the line comes through here over the next hour or so as we monitor the scenario. We're getting information in right now. Earlier on, more of these reports coming in 70 miles an hour toward Hall County, Texas, as the storms move through. So, again, this is really going to be an issue because as big of a deal this is out toward the west, I mean, we're not talking about any type of population density that really compares to the OKC Metro. So we're talking about maybe hundreds of thousands in theory, if these winds were really to transport to the surface in a widespread manner that's possible, we could be talking about hundreds of thousands without power between the Oklahoma City and Tulsa metro areas. So that's why we really got to be charging up the devices because it could take a while for power restoration here. So it's got to be really careful as we're looking towards some of these areas here later on. You don't want to be on the interstate here in this if you can help it because your vehicle could be blown around. There's higher profile vehicles could definitely have bigger issues here in this type of situation. So Just got to be really careful here as we get more information on in. Ford County, Texas, a gust of 59 miles an hour at 7:40 local time. Swisher County, Texas, there, the community of Happy, 69 mile an hour gust there at 6:35 Central Time. So that's a little earlier on there, but you kind of get the idea. Some of these different gusts being reported here as we kind of learn a little bit more about the geography and some of the names of these cities here in Oklahoma and Texas here with us tonight. But we're just going to keep on watching, looking. There's some severe thunderstorm warnings west of Abilene. We weren't really watching the actual thunderstorm risk at all down there, but we're seeing this. We're even seeing lightning, so that's kind of. Let me double check that. Actually, I may have the okay. I have the wrong later on there. So we did have a little bit of thunderstorm risk there, but again, nothing in terms of actual severe risk down there. But this goes to show sometimes things are not always perfect in terms of model prediction there. And just with the heavier downpour, you can get the winds being transported because they're so strong aloft. So you can see here Wichita Falls, they're going to be getting this too. They're under a tornado watch. I want to forget about you guys there in Wichita Falls. I know in weather history there, and we've had bad tornadoes go through there. For instance, in the past, it was a long time ago, we had a really destructive one, but a real long time ago as we look back the decades. But just nonetheless, we're not seeing that type of threat probably down there. Don't let your guard down, but these winds could really be problematic there. As we're now getting an area of concern just west of Hobart. We're really seeing the circulation tighten up rapidly now. So let's get up here. You see some of these areas. There's Hobart. And then let's go over to other radar source then, because it'll give us a better look at this. We were to get velocity here. Oh, wow. Yeah, we need to focus in shelter there around Hobart right now. I mean, you should have been there, but this is really tight. And this is dangerous looking, folks. I mean, we're seeing winds right here at 80 one way and about 50 the other way. So in theory, we could have winds, whether it's a tornado or not, upward of 130 miles an hour there. And there may be a debris signature there now, folks. That looks like that could be matching up. I mean, I'll go back to correlation coefficient. It's hard to say for sure as we kind of bounce between different modes here. But again, Hobart, Oklahoma, you need to be in shelter right now. Pretty highly populated area, seeing some problems as we're looking there. You see in this area of rotation is kind of there on the edge of the one box, but the other tornado warning there is in a little bit better spot. So again, you can see here what's going on. I mean, these are winds. I'll point them out to you. So when you have these orange type winds here, still up on the map, we're talking about 80 mile an hour type of potential. So right in there, that's 80 mile an hour winds. And now that wind is going away from the Frederick, Oklahoma radar site. But then you have these green areas here showing up the winds going toward the radar site, and that's in the 40 to 50 range. So you add those two together, in theory, you could get winds upward of 130 miles an hour down toward the surface. So I know we're getting some different gust reports in right now. So what I need to do, I need to go ahead and check something here off camera real quick. I'm going to check some information off camera. So I'm going to step out of the shot here for just a moment. So bear with me here. Try to gather some more information to protect you, your friends, and your family here as the latest information is coming on in from the different Weather Service offices. And we try to relay that to you, protect you, protect your friends, protect your family here. So let me go ahead and just try to go ahead and relay that to you here as we are along live. We're just seeing exactly what's going on. So spotters there are being deployed in Wichita County, Texas. So Beckham, Greer, that area there, confirmed tornado 4 miles west of Hobart, and then strong gusts reported there near Edmond, Oklahoma. So got to keep our eyes on that here for sure over the next little bit as we're just trying to gather the latest information. While I'm off camera here, let me go ahead and make sure I pull up our power outage information, because that can be really helpful for you guys at home. Poweroutage.us. And then we have a lot of outages from the winter storm still in Michigan lingering. Poweroutage.us still on over 200,000 customers in the dry there. California over 60,000. Some outages in New Mexico about 28,880. And then 45,346 in Texas. But Oklahoma so far, not many. 689 customers, but that number is just going to really accelerate quickly, it seems. Some of the areas in western Oklahoma may not be showing up here 100%, just because there's not as much population density, and some of the systems may not be on the source that we can look at live here with the added details. But we're getting word now maybe that debris signature showing up near Hobart. So let's zoom back on in here. Yeah, that's got to be debris, folks, where that's showing up there based on what the Weather Service is seeing, what I'm seeing. I think both of our eyes are saying that's probably debris. So we need folks in shelter. That's a tornado on the ground. There's some very destructive conditions. Whether it's a tornado, which it probably would be with this type of signature, we could be seeing winds were close to about maybe a little over even one way or the other. If it's over, they're 110 and under 90, some type of wind like that there. That could be really serious, really substantial, really problematic, whether it's a tornado or wind damage. So let me go ahead and just pop back into the shot right now. You can see here, that's a nasty signature. That's right where our rotation is. I mean, that's a tornado. That's got to be. That almost, I mean, we're at 3,300 feet or so. We're in all this rain and wind to get that showing up. Yeah, it may not be quite enough to upgrade this warning, but let me see how it's showing up. That's a little bit higher. That's close to 5,000 feet. So we may be on, this is almost 7,000 feet with debris. We may be on the cusp of getting this upgraded to a PDS tornado warning, and with that debris getting up that high and all this, this may be a situation where they upgrade to PDS. It's not necessarily something that you, if you're in this area or have family here, need to worry about, and that you just got to be in shelter. It doesn't matter. I mean, if it's PDS for you guys, if you're under tornado warning or a more substantial severe thunderstorm warning, you really got to be taking it seriously no matter what. So I don't just wait for it to be upgraded to take shelter. You need to be in shelter around Hobart, and to the north side there of Hobart, the east side of Cambridge. You see south of Sentinel, south of Rocky, just a little bit, but the addresses could be a little bit different here. Again, that's a tornado that's on the ground, and that debris signature is a little bit behind that, I think, now. So let me see if I can get a better look. Oh, wow, yeah, that's definitely there, folks. I mean, that's a tornado on the ground. And let's see, the topography here shows it may be missing Hobart some, but you can't lay your guard down because the radar could be displaced a little bit. So right now, I think it may be missing downtown Hobart, but still, nonetheless, you got to be really careful here in this type of situation. We have destructive winds there. We just got a warning update now from the Weather Service. They're saying for Blaine, Caddo, Canadian, Comanche, Custer, Dewey, Greer, Jackson, Kiowa, Kiowa, Tillman, and Wasatch counties there until 8:15 Central Time. We get a destructive wind gust of 80 miles an hour or so in those areas in that vicinity. Just got a gust of 51 knots at Altus there, the Air Force Base. So that's close to that damaging potential there coming to fruition in Altus. So you can kind of see here some of that wind as we go to our velocity that shows up the winds aloft there off the Frederick site, the Frederick, Oklahoma radar site. And again, we're watching the Oklahoma City metro area here in a little bit as we continue live with this coverage. We're seeing the winds come in from the back side though too. So even after the storms are over, you don't want to let your guard down. 77-mile-an-hour gust there toward Lubbock County, Texas, just a little while ago, 30 minutes ago, and the storms have been through there a lot longer than that. You don't even get storms necessarily that much with the actual downpours and the like. You're getting it with the dust now on the back side. So that's really problematic. They're causing more issues. But again, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me to protect you, protect your friends, protect your family. I'm going to give you some information right now. We're live right now on Facebook, Casey Cloud WX. Sometimes we don't go live on Facebook here in these type of situations for the national threat, but we felt it was significant enough of an outbreak to do so, and that's why we're on there. We're always on for local coverage as well. Casey Cloud WX and cloud weather. So before I give more information on that, we're getting reports now into the chat of the Hobart storm producing multiple power flashes there. From storm chaser Corey Inman. So this is, I believe, one of the TV stations. They're giving us this information. So a tornado on the ground there around Hobart, no doubt. As you continue to look at our platform, this is available on at Cloud Casey there. Then also local for North Florida, South Georgia area anyway. The Jacksonville, Tallahassee areas of the Weather Service, Auto Alerts, Cloud _ X on Twitter. More live streams available here on YouTube at Cloud Weather. That's where we're at too right now. If you're on any of these, again, just thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. And you have Twitch there, Cloud Weather, and the website cloudweather.com with some more information there, some supplemental information, including some radar scans that you can see from the national level, or zoom on in and get that interactive view of things there on a more localized, hyper-local view. So we'll just go ahead and keep watching, keep tracking things. Again, a confirmed tornado in Hobart as we're there almost at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern here. And now that look at this, you see our debris signature is still showing up. Circulation maybe is not as easy to pick out, but there's probably still some big time damage occurring right now, whether it's from a tornado or the damaging winds. So Just you got to be really careful here in this area. Checking some information behind the scenes right now. I just want to see if there are any questions here from the viewers. See if you have any questions here. I don't see any right now. But again, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much here for the positive comments. And we'll go ahead and just keep giving you guys the latest information right now. As you see around Roosevelt, Oklahoma, there you can see the heavier downpours there. You can see they're getting this just really close down here as they're looking. Some of our different radar scans kind of interfere. And look at ZDR, you're seeing some upscale growth in some of this and moving toward areas like maybe even Mountain View there over the next little bit here and in Oklahoma. So you see Carnegie maybe in the path as well to kind of step on over and move this over some. And again, later on, it's going to be about some of these areas that if you've watched Oklahoma City storm coverage over the years or are familiar with the Oklahoma City Metro, these are familiar areas to you. So, I mean, Chickasaw there, as we're looking there, or Chickasha, again, some of these you can kind of pronounce two ways, but you also see in Edmond there, Guthrie, Oklahoma City, Norman, Purcell, Kingfisher. There's a lot of these different places involved with the Tracy Falls Valley down there as well. So we're just going to keep on watching things. Guthrie, Oklahoma there. These winds are really coming on in. So all the surrounding areas need to be watching out. You see down here toward Altus, Oklahoma. We're just going to be watching here. I know, just seeing how things are going. You see Wichita Falls later on getting some of this is already gusting almost 50 rains there out ahead of things there toward Wichita County, Texas. So you see Lawton County or Lawton, Oklahoma there in Comanche County. We're talking about some gusting to 30 range out ahead, but much stronger, probably moving in here over the next little bit. So just got to keep watching, keep tracking there. You see some of these areas in Custer County, Oklahoma as well. So just incredible. And then as we get down to the south, all these winds coming in on the backside here are not good either. Lubbock there. And some of these storms are kind of helping to translate some of those winds down out east too. So that can be problematic in areas of North Texas. That might increase the threat down there a little bit more as we get further east even. We'll see. We'll just have to kind of see how things hold together. See if they actually make it, these storms toward the DFW metro. The threat's not very high there, but may get some type of severe thunderstorm warnings later in the night if the trends were to continue to develop things there a little bit further south and west than some of the expectations had. But we'll see about that. Tree line winds though in excess of 65 miles an hour possible in some areas there. In Oklahoma, other areas maybe winds closer to 70 or 80 miles an hour. So it's got to be really cognizant of that. You see around Roosevelt there, getting into a lot of problems there right now. So again, it's about Oklahoma City too later on as this stuff moves toward the east at 65 miles an hour, according to the latest update. And the speeds kind of change on us here a little bit. So Gust Air Hobart Municipal Airport now 63 knots. So that's definitely some substantial wind that can be knocking out some power towards some of these different areas. So tracking this out now, just kind of looking at some things here on the fly. East at 65 miles an hour. I mean, that gets you here with some of this in maybe an east-northeasterly type direction here. Gets you in Oklahoma City here within about an hour or so, give or take. I know that timeline kind of changes up and down a little bit. Speed kind of shifts around on us and how we track it. If it's 95, track it quicker. 65, a little bit slower, but still pretty quick. Moving on you pretty quickly there, but that'd be another hour maybe toward Oklahoma City and the metro in that scenario. And then for Tulsa there, and we look up in that vicinity, I mean, that could still be another, let's see, so I know we're talking about 10 to 1 a.m. Central on the timeline earlier. This right here probably get us there as I look about 3 hours or so. That'd be about 11 o'clock Central Time. So again, confirmed tornado now 6 miles southeast of Rocky, Oklahoma, with northeast at 65 miles an hour. So just continuing to gather the latest information there. I know reporting of a lower in there with the Elmer storm, but not seeing anything else right now. So we'll just kind of see what's going on with some emergency management officials and how the situation continues to translate on us here over the next little bit. So just seeing what's going on right here at this hour. We're again 8:03 here on the timeline. I think we'll take another break here in the coverage for now as we continue to gather more information. These winds definitely significant, definitely strong here. You see it's 5:30 in the morning northwest of Wichita now, so That's severe thunderstorm warning is for parts of Reno County there in Oklahoma, or in Kansas, excuse me, until about 2:15 Z, which gets us out there to about 8:15 local time. So see some of that wind threat translate up there as well. We'll be watching the threat out toward areas like in Indiana tomorrow, Laurel, but still a big deal for some of those local viewers. They're probably not enough for us to be on for, but we'll be watching all that. We'll be watching all this threat as well. I'll be back here with this live coverage, so keep it tuned here. I'll take about a 9-minute break with this threat that we're tracking right now, and then I'll have more information for you guys. I know we're seeing all these different gusts come in, a gust to 73 knots or 73 miles an hour there. We were just looking at the knots there a moment ago, but it's been converted here, 7:58 Central Time, 73 miles an hour there, 3 miles southeast of Hobart there. So definitely some strong winds there, and a tornado likely occurring in that area. 77-mile-an-hour gust now at Clinton, and then just seeing some more hail potential there. They're looking towards some of these areas there toward Kiowa County there in Oklahoma as well, maybe up to 1.75 inches in diameter. So a lot going on. Well, more for you guys here in about 9 minutes. So keep it tuned here to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Back here in the Weather Center just a little after 8 o'clock Central Time on this Sunday. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud. We're tracking things very carefully toward parts of Oklahoma here with a severe weather outbreak. Really historic for this time of year to be getting this type of wind pattern setting on up here, and that's translating winds 70, 80 plus miles an hour down to the surface. Weather Service saying the rear inflow jet is just southeast of Elmer, Oklahoma right now, so the strongest winds are just likely west of Tipton right at this moment. So just some new added information, added commentary in from the Weather Service here as we're watching different types of threats. We're looking at all these different storms there from the south up to the north here a little bit. You can just see what we're dealing with. Seeing the problematic pattern that we're watching here, getting even toward Kansas, but not as many warnings up there. But just going to keep watching things as we get down here the line, even some threats here in areas there west of Wichita Falls even. So going to be watching here. You see just north of the interstate there to run through Abilene, a warning. There's a thunderstorm warning here in play toward Hamlin, Texas there. You see some strong winds maybe coming in there, more like 60 miles an hour, but more like 70 up toward areas here in parts of, it looks like Ford, Knox, Will Barker, and Baylor counties there. So they got to watch that. You see Vernon, Texas. They're about to get into some of this. It's not as significant, but more like 60 mile an hour winds, according to the latest information in the Weather Service, and Frederick as well. But that could still knock out some power. But if we weren't already on, we wouldn't be talking about that area necessarily. But a lot in there. Winds could be as high as 80 in that region based on this polygon. Destructive winds are more toward, it looks like, Gary, El Reno, and areas around those. So got to be really problematic scenario there for folks. Got to really be careful is what I'm trying to say toward those areas. You see Watonga there. Again, Weatherford, Augustus west of there, 77 miles an hour about 15 minutes ago. So some of the radar scans don't still as strong, but some of this really strong wind moving in. And again, Oklahoma City, maybe especially the South Metro, I would say, just as I look at this together with you right now, really could have some problems here on their hands. Weather Service said the severe threat is 100% for Oklahoma City based on their model and behind the scenes. 100% chance of severe weather coming in Oklahoma City here as we're looking ahead within the next hour or so. The time frame is not 100% part, but it's the overall threat here, at least for the next 2 hours, is 100% there for Oklahoma City. So that's why we're so concerned here. Could have tornadoes within this, maybe a stronger tornado still. And I don't know if I've shown this too much here, so let me pop it up. Let me go ahead and pop this up real quick for you guys at home. This is where the strong tornado or two could develop, and that threat is seemingly not over, but it, at this point hadn't really come to fruition from anything I've seen. But that didn't really matter necessarily because we saw in Iowa in 2020 a terrible derecho knocking out power everywhere. It didn't matter, the tornado threat overall, and then we got some more of that towards Chicago, but later on in that timeline. But with this here, no, power outage.us now had about 3,000 customers in the dark in Oklahoma. As of last check, that's not very high, but it's up from less than 1,000 here not that long ago. And the numbers, depending on how things set up right in Oklahoma City, could accelerate on us as this accident gets on into toward the OKC metro area. So, city of Lawton sounding the sirens because of 80 mile an hour winds possible there. So, really got to be taking these type of winds seriously. These destructive winds here in toward that area. Got to be really mindful of those. Just continuing to give you guys the latest information here. We're looking at all our different sources. That source there from media there and putting the chat out of the Lawton area, KSWO TV meteorologist reporting that. The chief meteorologist there. And then as we see, getting some more information in. Altus there, 55 knots. Just getting that information in as well. So just trying to give you guys the very latest on what's happening here in these type of situations. So, again, Tulsa later on, Oklahoma City more imminent though, as we're now seeing a weakest, according to the Weather Service, mesovortex just west of Alva, Oklahoma. So there's likely some enhanced winds in and near Alva. So that's something to be watchful for as well and taken seriously. You got to just be really careful in these type of scenarios with the weather. So we're just going to keep watching things with the weather here. And we'll get back to weather here in just a few moments. But real quick, since we don't have anything like right in the Oklahoma City metro area, I think it's very, very important here to mention this again. We mentioned it on Thursday in our coverage. But I just want to talk about here a tragedy, a terrible event that occurred back there on Wednesday in the journalism community where Spectrum News 13 award-winning reporter and UCF alumnus Dylan Lyons was killed while covering a homicide in the Orlando area. Before coming to Spectrum News 13, he was an anchor and reporter in Gainesville, right where we're based in North Central Florida, folks. And he was in Bradford County, where I'm at, a lot doing reports, doing great reports. And this is so terrible what happened. So again, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences and thoughts and prayers to Dylan's fiance, family, friends, and colleagues during this time of this unfathomable loss. So it's terrible to see this young man, only 24 years old, lose his life in such a horrific way. But we're going to go ahead and make a tougher transition right now back to weather as we go ahead and look at more of this severe weather threat that's in play now. Again, tracking these warnings here in the ward parts of Oklahoma. You can see here, Oklahoma City area, right now, some of this action's moving on in closer toward that metro. You'll be able to kind of see what's going on here. You see northwest there of Lawton, Oklahoma, getting some of that tornadic threat here, showing up in a rotation tracker. We'll see if a new tornado warning is issued closer toward Anadarko here over the next little bit as possible. We'll just have to wait and see. But as we look down to the south as well, you see Vernon, Texas there. A little bit less in terms of wind threat, but just in the northwest, we did get a gust of 63 miles an hour, 4 miles east northeast of Odell there. In Wilbarger County, Texas, around, it looks like 8:05 local time. 63 mile an hour gust again toward Altus. Rasta time out, it looks like areas there around Alfalfa, Oklahoma, maybe getting a circulation spinning up. So that could be a problem here as we're looking there towards some of these different areas. It could be very destructive in nature. So let's go ahead and see what we're dealing with. I don't actually, okay, I do see what they're saying now. Yeah, okay, you put in motion, you can kind of see it. So let me go ahead and go over here. There's no tornado warning there yet, but that could change in a hurry. By the way, quarter says hail 5 minutes ago or so in Carnegie, Oklahoma. I will go ahead and show this to you guys here toward this area. And you can see some of these reds here trying to mix with some green. It's not really obvious, but I see what they're saying while they're kind of concerned. It didn't sound great, though, on reflectivity, but there's some rotation there. Got to be monitoring that as that moves out of Ouachita County and into Caddo County there in Oklahoma. So I know, seeing some of these different counties, you almost want to think you're in Louisiana, and some of these are familiar to the word Louisiana and call them parishes, but no, we're talking about counties here in Oklahoma, of course. So that's a dime size hail now reported by the sheriff in Frederick, Oklahoma. So these numbers aren't overwhelming with the hail sizes, thankfully, right now. And what our plan is, we were planning probably to go and get this through Tulsa, but if we don't see the wind and the tornado numbers as high and the power outage numbers as high as they could have been toward Oklahoma City, may just wrap it up after the storm get past Oklahoma City, Norman, Moore, and the like. We'll just wait and see here. These are still significant storms, but maybe not to that level to require national coverage. Still a local story, no doubt. It's still a big deal. And don't lay your guard down, because they very well could see these winds just accelerate through the OKC Metro and cause big-time problems. But if for whatever reason they didn't, they're just going to give you a little bit inside baseball regarding our coverage. But 69 mile an hour winds observed there in Tipton at 8:10, Oklahoma Mesonet, and in 2 south and 2 east of Eric, Oklahoma. We're now getting information of multiple down power poles. That's going to cause time there and effort to repair. An irrigation pivot also destroyed there. So that's 2 south and 2 east of Eric, Oklahoma, according to fire officials. So again, just going to keep watching things, just going to keep tracking things here with the Doppler. You see there's some weak rotation there north of Carnegie, but the radar isn't matching up perfectly on that. And in Frederick, getting some pretty strong winds right now there in Tillman County. We're just going to keep watching that. We're going to keep watching that. Again, you see the El Reno area, the Oklahoma City there, Oklahoma County. We're just going to keep watching things here as this axis moves on into toward that area over the next little bit. These storms definitely coming on into the picture. I want to see if you guys have any questions. We don't have any tornado warnings now, by the way, so that's some good news. And in terms of destructive severe thunderstorm warnings, it's the one big one here. So let's go ahead and go to that. And I'm going to see if you have any questions. But A lot in there up to Weatherford and just west of Oklahoma City. That winds to 80 miles an hour, a possibility there. So got to be charging those devices in Oklahoma City. Got to be charging them up in Moore, anywhere around Moore, Norman, El Reno. We talked about El Reno, that threat moving into your area, and Tulsa, and just all these surrounding areas. They got to be watching this situation. We have a rare 4 out of 5 wind risk, especially very rare for February to see something like this and play all the way through Tulsa. So it's got to be really careful here and can't let our guard down. Our significant tornado parameter, I haven't put this on yet, but you can see all those numbers there. They're kind of set up just behind on this mode at least, and that could play a role in some of this instability here, showing up just behind as well. That could kind of help if that were to be the right areas here and in order to limit the threat a little bit, but it may be just having trouble keeping up because the storms are moving so quick. But new tornado warning now coming out for Caddo County, northeast of Carnegie. So that information is coming in from the office there in Norman, Oklahoma. In terms of any questions right now, I don't see any, but if you guys have any, just make sure you pass them along here as we continue along in this coverage here right now. We're just going to continue along in this coverage toward these different areas, watching these different zones here and seeing the new tornado warning. They're calling this a confirmed tornado now near Fort Cobb Reservoir there, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour for Caddo County. So a possible tornado in this area. Let's go ahead and see what's going on there. So let me go ahead and give you guys an idea of the overall threat in the Wardell region. Again, it's a confirmed tornado towards some of the different areas that we're talking about. So let's go ahead and say right now what's happening. They're also saying a new tornado warning is coming for the Alfalfa County area around Burlington. But there's your tornado warning right here. This one is observed based on radar. So see if we can give you a debris signature. It's either to lowering in there. If you're right there, that looks like it could be something. Then that is updating on us. Let me see if we can kind of see if we get a co-located version of this for you guys. I'm going to go back this up here. So that's our area, and then there's definitely could be something there in that. And let me point it out to you. It's not near as well defined as what we saw earlier over Hobart, Oklahoma, I do believe. But you can see here, this is still something that's done up in terms of maybe some type of debris. Hydrometeors that are not uniform here, and some areas behind me, see they're not either. But when they're co-located like this, that's a problem. And that's close to 5,000 feet up. We're looking on this, so that could be a problem as well. Let me double check to make sure we're on the best radar for this area, and we are. Just to make sure we didn't have one a little bit closer. That can be tricky sometimes. I know bouncing between radars, but we're going to see a new tornado warning to areas there, to areas around Alfalfa County. So let me double check that. Yeah, around Burlington. So let's see where we're at with this. I may have to just wait for the warning to pop up because it's kind of hard to see exactly some of the topography and geography as you continue to bear with me. We're monitoring this small storms developing just ahead of the main line. They're saying the Weather Service in Norman, but they're most concerned for the wind and brief tornado potential within the line itself. That's kind of some inside baseball there. We continue to watch some of these storms. There's something out behind. Don't see a lot there right now, but we'll watch it. Again, Oklahoma City, we'll be watching you guys as well. Let's switch radars to that. See if we can get that view because that might be something that I really want to start focusing on. Yeah, you can see some of this rotation a little bit better on some of this. Radar information, radar data that's coming on in here out of Oklahoma City. So we'll just kind of watch some of this as it comes on in, and these winds here pick up potentially knocking out power. I know near Hollister, 60 mile an hour plus winds expected there, according to the KFDR radar site. So that's the information we're seeing with the winds aloft. Let's go ahead and look at the KTXL site here that we're dealing with right now. KTXL. And you can see the winds aloft. I mean, these are just extraordinary winds aloft, and it's a matter of how much gets transported down to the surface and knocks out power, knocks down trees, knocks down power lines, maybe power poles we've already seen. So that's the issue here. It's got to be kind of prepared for that potential here tonight as this threat kind of moves on further over east, northeast. I mean, you can kind of see what we're doing with it. Let's step to the other side. Some of this action here that kind of moves on in. We just got to be prepared for it here as we're watching north parts of Oklahoma. This definitely is a problem for some of these different areas here. as we're watching. So we're just going to keep you guys advised here through the evening to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. Whether you're watching locally here in North Florida, South Georgia, you may have the people you know living out there. You can relay this information to them by watching, share it to them, or maybe you're watching from that national level on YouTube. Maybe YouTube there at Clouds Weather, and you're getting that information here, and Roy taking heed of the warnings that are in play here from this national level perspective. So again, just all the different platforms you can watch on. If maybe you prefer to watch on one or the other, there's all the different sources there for streams. Casey Cloud Reacts on Facebook, Cloud Weather, Facebook, Twitter at Cloud Casey, YouTube at Cloud Weather, and Twitch there, Cloud Weather. I know YouTube, that's one of my favorites there, Roy. You can watch that maybe on that YouTube app, something like that, as you get to that tornado safe spot even. But as you just kind of type in the information to get to my page. But a new tornado warning there for Alfalfa and Grant counties there in Oklahoma until 9 o'clock. This is a radar indicated tornado near, if I'm pronouncing this right, Amarita there. So got to be careful. And that's way up there. Okay, I think we were getting some of our areas messed up there a little bit. There's an Alfalfa city in Oklahoma and Alfalfa County. And this is Alfalfa County, so I apologize there. Not 100% in line with every single zone here, but try my best. But this is actually part of the area there that's considered Alfalfa County, not the city of Alfalfa. So we were watching down there too. It's an odd scenario at similar time, pretty far apart. But this is Alfalfa County and northwestern and northern Oklahoma, as well as Grant County. They are being impacted. East of 65 is the movement on here. North of Driftwood, so you just got to be in shelter there as this potential tornado tries to move in terms of any debris. There could be something there, but it's kind of messy right now. But this is going to be moving up maybe toward Kansas eventually. We'll just continue to watch everything. We'll continue to track it and give you guys the very latest. I know news for thunderstorm warning for parts of Wichita and Wilbarger, Archer, and Baylor counties in North Texas. 60-mile-an-hour winds possible there. Also, Weather Service is monitoring multiple circulations in the Oklahoma City, Norman office there, across Caddo County, one just south of the town of Albert, and another 5 miles southwest of Gracemont. So we're just going to have to keep watching all of that here as we look down and up on the radar scans. Again, we're going to be waiting for this to get in toward the more populated area here with the tornado watch here in play as well. The rare 4 to 5 wind risk here. That's the bigger threat, probably some ways more than a tornado threat here, the more widespread threat here, because you generally have a much better chance of being impacted by winds, or in this scenario, the damaging winds from the line or behind, or maybe ahead, but especially behind, versus the actual tornadoes that can develop. This is like what we have with a hurricane. I mean, when a hurricane, a lot better chance of getting hurricane winds from that than you do a tornado, but you have to just watch all the different hazards here. And in this situation, the wind leads off. Sometimes the winds, that threat is there, but the tornado threat is so much more dominant here. It sticks out so much more, and that's what we kind of talk about. But in this situation, the wind threat sticks out more, and that's what we're talking about. That, and that's why we're trying to keep you guys safe. So continuing to look at our weather map right now, trying to give you guys the very latest here. Sitting there at about 8:32 Central Time here on this Sunday, this February 26th. It's very early here in the season for stuff like this. And here in 2023, these temperatures are so warm, causing problems. And I know even back to the west, we want to keep mentioning that Hale County, Texas, they had severe wind gusts from 5:50 to 8:08 p.m. This causes some power problems, no doubt. Looking toward Abernathy there in Hale County, Texas, 5 miles northeast to be precise. Gusts of 72 miles an hour, even at 7:23 local time. So this is about an hour ago, even behind everything. You're really getting all that wind coming into play. So it's not over once the line comes through completely. And that's something to definitely bear in mind. So we'll continue to do that here with you guys. I know all the spotters are out there in the field. My goodness, look at this. It's an incredible number of storm spotters. This is a big national story, no doubt. And a lot of people just honestly, meteorology enthusiasts and storm chasers, you hope the storm chasers that are out there really know what they're doing. But the ones that are out there, no doubt, are trying to find out exactly what's going on with these storms and get an idea of what's happening with them and do research on them in some cases to get a better understanding of future storms that develop and how to predict and warn for those. But just kind of something here. So many people come to Oklahoma in general, though. Generally in May is where you have your peak season for them. But right now in February, we're seeing something that's really an anomaly here on the board. So just continuing to watch things. I know there's power now out in Caddo County, northeast side of Fort Cobb Lake. May have to disconnect soon, according to one of the ham radio operators in the area. So just kind of getting some of those electrical issues to arise. So make sure you're charging up those devices here in Oklahoma City and Norman. If you're a student there at OU, if you're a student at OSU, at Oklahoma State University, or maybe even Oral Roberts there, or Tulsa, school there, University in Tulsa, you just want to be charging up those devices as well there. You just got to be really careful in this type of scenario because you don't want to be without electricity. I mean, some of those universities, if you're on campus, might have special options if we really have a big deal in terms of power outage, but if not, I mean, then that could be a different story. And if you're off campus, you might have some issues there, at least initially as well. Depending on how the magnitude of this ranges, it may not get as high as we were thinking here in terms of the overall impact, but sometimes in these situations, it's kind of harder to judge when we're on the fly. Sometimes you have to wait for the aftermath, the damage to come in, and the sun to come up to really realize just how bad the wind event was, because it's not as obvious as a tornado event here in terms of the destruction level that could arise. So we don't get these all that often. Potential derechos. This may not last long enough to be that, but it could as well. And then if anything, at least it's a derecho-like event. So that's something to keep in mind. We're seeing considerable damage there. Tornado possible tag toward parts of Comanche, Cotton, Tillman counties in Oklahoma, and then Archer, Baylor, Wichita, and Wilbarger counties in Texas until 9 o'clock Central Time. 70-mile-an-hour winds possible, so just gotta be really mindful of that. We're just gonna have to keep on watching these storms here as they do progress. We're just gonna go ahead and zoom on in here to ward area. They're on Throckmorton now in Texas. This is a thunderstorm warning issued by, it looks like, the San Angelo office. We're talking about Haskell and Throckmorton counties here in west central Texas till 9:15. At 8:34, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near, it looks like Miller's Creek Reservoir to near the intersection of US 380 and Highway 222 to 8 miles southeast of Lake Stanford Marina, moving east at 55 miles an hour. Throckmorton, Albert, Woodson will be impacted over the next little bit, so got to keep that in mind here. We're just going to keep on watching things. We're just going to keep on tracking everything as it comes on into the picture here. You can see Oklahoma City is in line here over the next little bit. And even, again, non-thunderstorm gusts here earlier on. It looks like maybe even more recent, 74 miles an hour there. 7:38 Central Time, 3 miles west-southwest of Aiken, way back in Hill County, Texas. So these winds are just whipping out behind this. You don't always see that, so that's why we're kind of focusing on that a little bit. I know you see some of our different isobars, the pressure's down a good bit here. I zoom out, and you see our low pressure there, and just, that's a factor here in all of this. And a new tornado warning now coming out for Caddo, Canadian, and Grady counties. Looks like also tornado warning in Harper County, Kansas now. So, okay, Caddo, Canadian, and Grady until 9:15 Central Time. This is going to get us closer to more populated areas now. With this, it looks like as we approach the Oklahoma City metro, you see the rotation there to southwest of Gracemont, just northwest of Anadarko there. As we look at our mapping, and this is going to move in toward maybe closer to Minko here over the next little bit, even Mustang, Oklahoma in this, and eventually this holds together. We're talking about the OKC metro area. So again, I just got to be really, really careful with all this. We're just going to have to keep on watching the progress of all this here as it moves closer toward OKC. You can see the lightning potential here as well, so that's problematic. But that's not the biggest concern. That's not why we're on. It's about the tornado threat and especially that wind threat here in play. Now, 4 tornado warnings though in the country. 3 of them in Oklahoma, 1 for Caddo. Confirmed there. Caddo, Canadian, Grady, radar indicated. Alfalfa and Grant there, as I zoom out more, radar indicated. And then Harper County, Kansas, radar indicated. So we're just going to keep watching things, how this progresses on us here. I know Weather Service in Tulsa talking about surface-based instability developed north in the middle of Oklahoma into southwest of Stillwater So talking about Oklahoma State University, the Cowboys there, where Cape energy is up to 500 joules per kilogram, and the Cape of 300 to 400 joules per kilogram is developed in Pawnee, toward Creek and Ofuskie counties there. And instability should continue to expand north and east as the moisture comes up from the south, and the cold air aloft spreads in with the storm system. As they're now saying, the Oklahoma office there in Norman, Oklahoma City office, monitoring a pair of circulations in far southern Comanche County near the community of Faxon there. So got to be really careful. Floyd County, by the way, I got 75 miles an hour earlier. Out of the Lubbock area, more non-thunderstorm winds that you just rarely see to that level, a hurricane force level there in Texas, toward that Texas panhandle or in the vicinity at least. It looks like a debris signature maybe around Beaner now. So let's see what's going on with that. Let me see what's going on with that. Maybe a debris signature, I'm being told. So let's go ahead and zoom back in here. No town of Cyril there is advising that the storm sirens be activated due to the radar indicated winds of over 70 miles an hour there. So that's something new just coming on in as well. But so we're talking about maybe debris near Beaner. Radars are not great out in some of these areas. I need to switch because this one probably give me better what view. I'm looking at them behind. Yeah, I see what they're saying. So this is the Oklahoma City radar, and that's right just west of Beaner, it looks like. And you know, there could be some rotation in there. Could also be the damaging winds, and some stuff maybe a little bit misaligned because these storms are moving so fast, or it could be on the backside as well. But these are moving northeast at now 40, so they've slowed down a little bit more here, and that changes the timeline a little bit further back in the overall time frame. So just going to keep watching things here with all this on our scans. You see Lawton and Augusta 48 a little while ago. So I'm just going to keep watching and tracking and giving you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family here. Oklahoma City, time's running out. If you haven't charged up your devices there, go ahead and do it. You could lose power. That's a possibility here in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma County there. Maybe lose power around Norman and more in there as well. You have these different areas that could be impacted. For sure, you have Purcell there. You have Blanchard here as well. So just got to be really watching this situation here. That 4 out of 5 moderate arrest for wind. If this was a mere June, it would still be a pretty big deal, no doubt. And it's something that, depending on the overall magnitude, could end up being a really big deal in history. But this is even more magnified because we're in February and we're dealing with this. That's something you just don't normally deal with, this type of level of threat in Oklahoma in February. It's historic in some ways, just even having that type of level already in play from the Storm Prediction Center, which is literally based in Norman, Oklahoma. So they see all those outlooks for the whole country and the watches for the whole country. I believe, I don't know if this has been discussed much, but Hurricane Center has backups. I'm sure Storm Prediction Center there in Norman has backups too in case they have some problems. Of course, our office in Norman also has backups, as all weather service offices do, if they have issues or need to get in their tornado safe spot for a little bit. So just something to kind of keep in mind here. We're just going to keep on watching things with all these different storms. Let's go up to the radar that's really close to some of this action there near Harper County, Kansas. We're just going to go ahead and zoom back on in here. We're now getting reports of tornado signature debris to the south, but this is here to the north, right near Waldron there, just into Kansas. We're going to be watching some maybe tornadic action develop there, but to the south now, let's get down here. We're talking about a debris signature evident northeast of Gracemont. So let's see what we have with that. Northeast of Gracemont, there it is, southwest of Spring Creek. It's not really obvious if I'm in the right mode here, unless it's that other area near, that other area near Beaner is weird because that doesn't really look like it could be in the right spot, but more toward Gracemont. It could be. These are hard areas to pick out, which, that goes to so we have a lot of wind around too, but let's check the other terminal radar because that could help us. I don't know if there's debris on this or not. I don't think there normally is, but just wanted to check. And then you can see the rotation there down near Gracemont. It's a little bit better as we're looking there pretty low down. You can kind of see what we're dealing with there. Let me move Gracemont up a little on our map so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. This area of spin. Train spotter just observed winds 52 miles an hour there toward Holiday, Texas. These wind reports are coming everywhere. So I don't want to see these winds this far and this wide here. Also strong winds pushing into Verdon as well here. There's Verdon right here to the south as we're looking at the terminal Doppler out of Oklahoma City's airport and the airport system. So Gonna go ahead and keep watching things as we go back to the broad radar review now. Just continue to check things here. I know there's all sorts of research radars as well. I don't have those pulled up necessarily, but they're definitely maybe gathering some information here. I would think they would be in a situation like this. So we'll keep our eyes on everything here for you guys. As we go back, you're getting closer to the OKC Metro. I mean, this tornado warning goes as far east as about Yukon and Mustang, but eventually, if we get the circulation to hold together, Oklahoma City could be in line here. The OKC Metro could, in theory, be in line. We keep talking about it, but just something to be aware of here this evening as we just continue to watch right now with 4 tornado warnings on the board. And just the overall 4 out of 5 wind risk we have. It looks like 4 severe thunderstorm base warnings here, 3 considerable ones, 1 destructive, 3 base tornado warnings, and 1 tornado warning for 1 on the ground. New severe thunderstorm warning now coming through the metro of OKC. So we'll see what type of level they go with, if it's destructive winds, if it's the considerable tags, if tornado possible tags in there. I think there would be. That'll be something to consider. And also getting reports now to the northeast end of the Lawton Airport, gusts to 66 miles an hour there, further down toward the south. So that's some information that's just being relayed now as we continue to monitor the situation. So we're approaching 8:45 Central Time here, 9:45 in the east where I'm based at. Of course, we cover our local weather when we need to, but right now a national storyline that needs to be covered. That's what we're doing. We're just seeing now also increasing rotational signature there near the Caddo Grady line north of Verdon. So that's some information that's being relayed here from Max Unger there at the Weather Service in Norman. So I'm just going to keep watching all of this here. As it translates, you see this severe thunderstorm watch here that's in the pink, and that watch that goes into play there for a pretty long while. As I go ahead and click on that, it looks like that goes all the way to about 1 o'clock Central Time or so there. Our tornado watch is there, 1 o'clock Central to the east, but 9 o'clock Central to the west. So that'll be ending here pretty soon then, out toward the west. So definitely something to kind of keep our eyes on here. We're seeing the Caddo County area, I guess, to 68 miles an hour here around Hinton about 10 minutes ago, Hinton there. So just seeing all that information being relayed. We'll be back in about 9 more minutes with more information as we keep you, your friends, your family safe and informed on a dangerous night toward Oklahoma as a gust there, Childress, Texas there, 60 knots. So another severe gust being reported, causing some issues maybe to trees, power lines, and the like here as we monitor things on this February 26, 2023.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center. We're sitting right now at about 8:55 Central Time on this Sunday, just continuing to provide you guys the latest information here. You can see we have the tornado watch here in play right now. That goes to the east one anyway until about 1 a.m. and into the north with a severe thunderstorm watch in play. Areas around Wichita and areas downstream of that till about 1 a.m. and that's really far north for this time of year. They get a severe type of threat. I mean, it's already been a crazy situation we've been dealing with. I know out toward California. California, they're back yesterday. The storms out there, day before as well, with this overall setup. And even a severe thunderstorm warning there in that vicinity that caught my eye. Tornado warning in that area that caught my eye. As we just continue to see different things going on. I know this pattern out toward parts of Texas, we still have a high wind warning continuing for parts of the region down there toward Bailey, Briscoe, Castro, Cochran, Crosby, Floyd, Garza, Hale, Hockley, Lamb, Lubbock, Lynn, Palmer, Swisher, Terry, and Yoakum counties until 2 a.m. Central Time down there. And then out with the line itself and in that vicinity of that, we have Augustus being reported down to 64 miles an hour at 45th there, and Lee in southeast Lawton. So that's still pretty significant as well. And I just continue to watch different things. See a little bit of lightning there near the Arkansas-Missouri border caught my eye, but it's not the main story whatsoever. It just kind of caught my eye, though, behind me. But we're going to go back to some of our other radars now. Just bear with me here. We're going to go back over to our GR Level 3 computer. You can see here, looks like that rotation right near Minko. It's going to be heading on in here over the next few moments. So we just got to be kind of cognizant of that. I don't see any debris yet, but look at that hook there. That's headed right in from Minko. So if you're in Minko, you need to take shelter here as we're looking right now along US 81 here in Oklahoma. That's a well-defined hook, and this could produce a tornado at any time in Minko. So this is the rotation we're talking about right in there, and it's headed right from Minko, it looks like here. Hopefully it doesn't keep tightening up. It started to kind of tighten with the green starting to come in with the oranges there and the pinks. So that looks like 70-mile-an-hour wind give or take there on the north side of this. And then that's wind to about 20, so that could be a 90-mile-an-hour scenario there. We'll see. Looking aloft, of course, but only about 2,500 feet up. We'll just keep watching, keep tracking down to the south. Chickasaw here, Grady County. Here in Oklahoma, we're watching some stuff, and then you're going to have to just keep watching here up toward Yukon and Mustang. These strong winds aloft, the winds being transported down to the surface by the heavy downpours as they'll be coming in there. And in Oklahoma City, this is a thunderstorm warning for you guys there. We were alluding to this earlier on. They went with the TAD. This is a little bit less than maybe alerting on that phone with the actual information coming out there, which is some good news. We're not talking about 80-mile-an-hour winds at this point, but 70 just on the cusp of hurricane force toward eastern Comanche County in southwest Oklahoma, and then just going through so many in Oklahoma and Texas here, northwestern Jefferson County, northwestern Garvin County, excuse me, Grady County there, Caddo County, Oklahoma County, Cotton County, Canadian County, McLean County, or McLean, depending on your pronunciation at local level, against Stevens, over toward Cleveland, Tillman, and Clay County there, even getting down toward Texas, as we talked about a moment ago. So I just got to keep watching all these winds as they come on in here in central Oklahoma tonight. You see who's passing by Chickasaw there. You see Amber just getting on the edge of some of this here. It really is kind of in toward that area now. I'm talking about the leading edge of the window, but that's really being transported down by the rain. So that's something to kind of be mindful of too. And then you see Newcastle. They'll be in the path of this over the next little bit. Again, Oklahoma City is too, but also Moore and Norman, which are very important communities here. For Norman because of the university, and for Moore, unfortunately, it's for sad reasons with all the tornadoes that have gone through there over the years. But as we see Blanchard here in between, they're going to be getting some of the strong wind as we look at velocity or wind mode. The wind's up above, how they get transported down to the surface. So again, you see around Amber there, you see around, again, Chickasaw there, just trying to get into some of this as well. Again, Norman, time's running out. If you're a student there, At OU, time is running out. You need to be inside. You need to be away from windows. This is a nasty situation. Maybe at this point, not enough to put that bicycle helmet on, but if you prefer to do that or a football helmet, you're more than welcome to in this type of situation if you feel that it might make you safer, because it could in theory. But right now, we're not quite at that level where that is the most likely scenario where we have just the extreme winds. But 70 mile an hour of wind can still knock out power, can throw down trees. It can still be very dangerous, even if you're out and about. It could be fatal if you get in an accident, a tree falls on the road. That can definitely be problematic. I mean, you don't want to be out driving in this, because a tree falls on a vehicle. It doesn't even take severe winds all the time to get that to happen. It can lead to some very sad consequences. So, as we look up toward the north here, toward Mustang, Oklahoma right now, we're just watching things you see around Minko. You see a little bit of rotation around Tuttle. We'll just have to keep watching that. I'm just going to keep zooming on down here. You see Duncan, Oklahoma there. Some gusts already, but higher gusts maybe moving in there over the next little bit. So I'm just going to have to keep watching all of that. You see radar not scanning as good, but some of this action moving toward Wichita Falls. We're looking a little bit higher up on that radar scan, so not showing that as good. But you see the interstate there. You see I-35. This action there will be impacting that area here pretty soon. You also have areas along, it looks like I-40 being impacted already here between El Reno and Yukon with some of this, but even maybe some worse weather there around Minko, as we were talking about a moment ago. So I don't see anything maybe that's 100% debris at this point, but I'm going to keep gathering information. I'm going to step off again to get some new details here, gathering some new details, so just bear with me. We'll go ahead and zoom back in just a little bit here. They give you guys the very latest. It's important for me to kind of get a better look at things sometimes when I'm off camera. So that's what we're going to do right at this moment. Just keeping you guys advised, keeping you guys safe, keeping you guys informed here on this Sunday night as this threat gets closer and approaches Oklahoma City, Norman, and more. The latest pattern numbers now have nearly 8,000 customers in Oklahoma in the dark. That's not maybe as high as we were thinking initially. But this could accelerate to the higher populated areas and really show an increased impact here toward Oklahoma City over the next little bit. We'll just wait and see as we continue along here. So just trying to gather the latest information here as we are providing it to you, and just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on here. It's all about protecting you, your friends, your family, whether you're local in our area, you have family out there watching, or if you're actually watching from this area. It's all about the weather community coming together with a 4 to 5 risk like this to let you guys know what is happening. So I know lower risk tomorrow as we get further out in the country. In fact, I'll go ahead and just kind of tell you some of the cities while I'm off camera that could be impacted by tomorrow's risk. Tomorrow's risk, we're talking about areas there around Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville, Dayton, and Springfield, Illinois. That could be at greatest risk. I mean, you're talking about Columbus, St. Louis, Lexington, Kentucky, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Joliet, Illinois. A little bit less of a risk, but still there, marginal. And then we're going to have bigger risk coming into play here later in the week, maybe tornadoes. We could have a big tornado outbreak in theory later in the week. It's still too early to give you the specifics, but we have a day 5, 30% risk towards Lufkin, Texas, Shreveport, Louisiana. There also Alexandria in that state, Greenville, Mississippi, and Jackson, Mississippi as well. Even out toward areas closer to Ward and in toward Tuscaloosa. Even we have a very high risk there, this far out anyway, which would be considered enhanced on the scale, but still something to watch. And then we're watching a risk already for Friday for our South Georgia counties toward Doherty and Albany there, and up all the way outside of our area, way up through Atlanta, and then out towards Charlotte, North Carolina. So going to be something to really watch. You probably have to keep that logo ready we've alluded to, because this threat is not something that's going to just wind on down. I mean, this one threat will, but then more weather players will be coming into the picture here that we'll need to just gather information on and monitor things on. So again, we're just going to be here with you guys as long as it takes to let you guys know what is happening. I'm just going to check some things right now while I'm off camera. I want to make sure everything is good to go here as we gather the very latest information here from the different Weather Service offices. I know it's important to know exactly what is happening. I know these polygons can get real big sometimes because these threats are so widespread with these warnings that are in play. So It's always important just to be taking these situations seriously. And as James Spann, a meteorologist, chief meteorologist that's been there a long time in Birmingham, says here for his local viewers, and then we'll just say on a national level, just make sure you respect the polygon, and take those warning issues seriously because they're dealt with and thought about in a very diligent way in terms of the overall threat level that could evolve. 70-mile-an-hour winds possible through about 9:30 local time toward parts of Caddo, Canadian, Cleveland, Comanche, Cotton, Garvin, Grady, Jefferson, McLean, Oklahoma, and Stevens County in Oklahoma, and in Clay County in Texas. So just got to keep watching that. Just seeing all these different areas here, maybe circulation aloft near Mustang now. That could be a problem here in toward this region. So we got to be really mindful of that as we continue to give you the latest. I know I'm resetting some information behind, so I'll be back in front of the camera in just a moment here. But just want to make sure we have our latest information coming on the screen so I can see it for you guys when I'm off the camera as well. So again, just keeping you guys abreast of the situation here. I just want to make sure you guys know exactly what is happening in this type of setup because it's all about protecting you, your friends, and your family here on this Sunday night. So sitting right now at about 9:06 Central Time, 10:06 here in the East. Just making sure you guys know exactly what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and step back in front of the key wall now. You can kind of see me on the edge, so I'll go ahead and pop myself right back on in so you guys have the latest information here to protect everybody as we're getting, looks like a tornado possible tag and a new severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour potential there toward Alfalfa, Blaine, Garfield, Grant, Kay, Kingfisher, Logan, Major, and Noble counties in Oklahoma. Also, gusts of 60 miles an hour recently reported toward Amber, Oklahoma, with an anemometer at 18 feet in a clear open space. And sometimes, I mean, those clear spaces, that might help get these numbers up a little bit even because you'll be able to get those winds to really kind of be magnified here and towards some of these areas. So that can be a storyline in of itself. As we continue to watch here, continue to track everything. I know I'm tracking some different things here in the Weather Center this evening. I just want to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on here with everything. I know one thing of note here of reference is actually something that's important to our local North Florida and South Georgia viewers. If you're tuning in, it's kind of weather related. So let's go to a map real quick. It's going to be kind of blank, which is kind of important here. Because we have a rocket launch, a launch here tonight to space, and I have this up now. I kind of say here the sky conditions look pretty good as we're looking out there in toward parts of Florida to see that from North Central Florida, Northeast Florida, and the like here. So that's set for about 1:45 a.m. As of last check, a man missing there to space. You should be able to see that with pretty good visibility here. Just be careful if you're going outside late at night, but weather conditions look pretty good for that here. That's in about 3.5 hours or so. But getting back to the north and west now, we're getting information in that there's a debris signature still there showing up. They haven't shown the confirmed polygon on here, but I'm sure we'll probably get that here soon. But this is for areas there south of Yukon approaching I-40. So let's go ahead and see you guys that. This is kind of quick stuff, and that's actually pretty significant. We need to get to this right away. That's a pretty significant debris signature there now. Just northwest of Mustang. You got to be in shelter. We got a tornado on the ground. There it is developing. And there it's really picking up stuff now. And this is starting to become a maybe bigger threat here. More populated areas. And we got a pretty substantial debris signature. It's at a lower level. So that can kind of mitigate here. Maybe this being a more significant tornado. But I'm going to go up in our higher heights here to see. It's not sun up as much. So that might be a weaker but still dangerous tornado on the ground here right now. As we're looking not too far away from Mustang and the Yukon area there as well. That debris signature. Let me point it out for you guys again. It may weaken our next scan, but this right here, folks, is a tornado debris signature. And then we have areas here in the vicinity like Yukon, like Mustang. They were saying there is approaching I-40. So you see here, there's our circulation again, and a debris signature associated with that. And then there is Interstate 40. So this is headed in this direction here, maybe more like this, or maybe more like this, depending on the overall trajectory here. I know, getting gusts at 52 miles an hour there. You see our latest scan on debris tracker, 52 miles an hour, 1 mile east of I-40 on Riley Road in Wichita Falls, Texas. And then toward Hobart Barn, a home with severe structural damage, called into the McIntosh County EOC. And then I know debris signature expanding a bit, but dispersing. I mean, maybe the tornado is and trying to lift, but it's about to cross. If there's still a tornado on the ground, I-40 near mile marker 136 to mile marker 140. So nobody should be driving right now between mile marker 136 and mile marker 140. Whether there's a tornado on the ground or one that could pop back down on you, or maybe some of that debris fallout, actually some of that remnant of the damage that we just had from that quick spin of tornado actually could fall. I mean, we could have smaller pieces of stuff fall there, in theory, on the interstate. I mean, hopefully nothing that's too impactful, but I mean, you could have roof shingles, for instance, falling from the sky in that range, possibly, if a tornado is not active at that point even. Now, of course, if tornado active, you have more problems than that. But due east of Mustang is another circulation moving northeast here. So let's go ahead and get to that area. You see Mustang there. You see Mustang, Oklahoma. There might be a little bit of debris there. I'm not sure, but there is circulation right on the back edge of this line. It's not the most normal area for all this, but you can see some of that trying to develop here, and this is moving right in the OKC metro. Let's go to the terminal Doppler because this might give us a better look, a little bit closer on that. So let's see what we got with that. Well, it's not showing as good as I thought it would, but you see some rotation near Mustang. We're watching all of that for you. Let me go back to the other view because it seems like maybe it's being obscured by the rain some. And maybe we're getting lucky with some of these, not quite as strong, but it's hard to tell. New tornado warning coming out now for Canadian and western Oklahoma counties. And another one has just been issued for Garfield, Kingfisher, and Major. So let's go ahead and zoom back on in now. We're going to see what's going on here. 45-mile-an-hour winds toward Newcastle right now being reported. Report of a power flash, or maybe multiple in the Duncan area now. And some power outages showing up in that region too. So just got to keep that in mind. You can see here, we're watching all of our Doppler scans. We're live with you on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch tonight. You can see here everything that's happening. We have our different scans showing up. You have all these tornado warnings to the north here as well. I mean, we need to talk about these. That's Kingfisher, Garfield, and Major. Possible tornado 6 miles south of Drummond, moving northeast at 60 miles an hour. We're also talking about tornado situation maybe closer to Ward. It looks like areas there just east of Hillsdale and then just northwest of Jefferson in Grant County, Oklahoma. And then there's an area of rotation. It looks like near McLean County. Yeah, near Cole. And I think we have a tornado on the ground now being reported. I'm being told by our chat session. So let's go ahead and make sure that it's maybe the area we were talking about earlier, or maybe not. We'll see the new box pop up here in a second. So let's wait for that. But this is over southwest Oklahoma City. We have a tornado on the ground near Mustang. We're seeing now. So this area up here, then I need to get folks in shelter. So it's maybe this area right in there. That's your new box, and there's your circulation. There's your wind. There it is, 70, 80 mile an hour wind there, approaching I-40. Whether it's a tornado or not, it could be a little bit stronger if it's a tornado, but there's your spin right in here, folks. A tornado maybe on the ground here already has been at points. So moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. You got to get in that interior room away from windows right now if you're in this area here in the western OKC metro area. Let's go ahead and read off some of the information in the text of this warning. So at 10:12 Eastern Time, 9:12 Central Time, a tornado-producing storm is located over southwestern Oklahoma City. They're near Mustang here. As I continue to move our map over just a little bit more, they're not seeing another tornadoes on the ground near Yukon. But this right here is near Mustang, moving northeast at 40. I-35 between mile markers 130 and 146 could be impacted. I-40 between mile markers 139 and 151, and I-44 between mile markers 116 and 145 could be impacted. So there's your other tornado confirmed near Yukon. You see the greens and reds coming together there. So this is it right in here. Tornado on the ground apparently. We're also getting reports now as things really heat up, so I'm trying to pass it on as quick as I can. Amateur radio is now reporting power flashes and a tornado on the ground at I-40 there and Highway 4 in Yukon about 2 minutes ago. So a tornado on the ground there. You gotta be, if you're in OKC, if you're in this metro area, you gotta be taking shelter, interior room away from windows. Whether you're under tornado warning or not in some regard, because things are developing so quick with these spin-ups here, very problematic. Seeing these those lower tilts here on the Doppler scans. I mean, these could be weaker but still damaging tornadoes here that are touching down, causing problems. There's another tornado warning. This got issued now toward Garfield, Grant, and Kay counties. Now we're talking a little bit fast here, but just trying to relay that information here quickly. The reason why I'm doing so is we have a possible tornado apparently near the Kremlin community, if I'm pronouncing that right, moving east at 50 miles an hour. So seeing all that coming in, tornado warning coming there. It looks like from McLean and Cleveland counties now. Is it this area down here? I bet it is. Let's see. Cleveland, McLean, Oklahoma County, the possible tornado to Goldsby now. Let's see where that is, because everything's really, really messy in here. Tornado signatures are not the most obvious because of wind patterns, and wind is just really strong already. But we're now getting reports in Canadian County now. Canadian County, 4 miles northeast of Mustang, several power flashes, southwest 44th and Council. Now a debris signature just east of Mustang. So let's see what we got with that. Let's pull up the debris signature. There it is right there, I believe. Let me double check. Well, that looks a little bit behind, but let me just double check it. Maybe up here then. Yeah, that might be the more obvious spot. Everything's moving so quick here. We're in such a small area in terms of just moving. It changes where you are really rapidly. So we got tornadoes popping up here all around the OKC metro. It's important you take shelter here because things are not the easiest to pick out here. And this is why we wanted you guys to be prepared. There's a tornado warning now. The OU campus, those students at OU now, things have taken a little bit of an escalation. So those bicycle helmets, those football helmets, we said we weren't sure if you wanted to put them on. Time to put them on now if you're around Norman, just to be on the safe side. You want to go ahead and put those football helmets on, those bicycle helmets on around the university as things are heating on up there, potentially, maybe more toward Goldsby, though, as we were alluding to a moment ago. But this has to move in an area that could be pretty close there, at least, to Norman. So they're under the warning. You got to respect the polygon, no doubt there. As we're looking toward Cleveland County, but right now we're in McLean County. Sirens going off in Norman as you would expect. That means it's time. If you haven't already taken shelter for the wind, it's definitely time to take shelter now because we have a tornado. Let me start over. We may have a tornado in the vicinity here, OU, over the next little bit. So, got to be taking shelter here right now. This moderate risk 4 out of 5 day here. We're just seeing what's happening. We have tornado warnings all over the place now. I'm going to see if you have any questions for me real quick while I'm looking at my other screen here. Any questions? Don't see anything at this point, but just thanks so much for tuning and trusting me here on this Sunday night. I appreciate you guys and your kind words here as we're looking at all of our different platforms and the comments coming across here thanking me for the coverage. But you can see here sirens sounding there at Forest Park, Arcadia, and Luther there. Also, just more information about sirens. I don't want to go over all those because you see that little hook there, little area near Goldsby, near Norman, problematic potentially. So we got to get folks in shelter. Again, there was a information that was coming in. I don't see it confirmed on here, but I thought we might have had something down there that was confirmed. Everything's just all over the place here on us right now. So with so many warnings here, we're doing the best we can. We're a one-man band, but you can see the very strong winds there showing up. Let's go back to the other view. I really saw something. Let's go back to the terminal because I really saw something on the terminal to the north, and that'd be the better spot probably on this. Let's see. Oh, that's really something right there. It looks like. I don't think we have debris tracker here, but let me co-locate that. It looks like a little bit of something. I know the radar's not going to show up good, but there may be something there right near the interstate, near I-40. Again, it's very messy. And if you're under a tornado warning, we may not be able to pinpoint where the tornadoes are at every point. So take shelter immediately. You can't mess around here. This is about as chaotic of a radar scenario you can get because we don't have something that's just overwhelmingly large, but any of these tornadoes can be causing significant damage in their vicinity. So That's the terminal radar view right there. Well, let's get back to the main radar view now. At velocity, you see some rotation there. It looks like this southeast of Bethany here, and it's again really messy. Right over Oklahoma City, though, you're getting really strong winds right there in the OKC metro. See more now, Roy, getting some heavier acts, and downtown more. It looks like you split between the tornado warnings, but you have a severe thunderstorm warning in play. Maybe some of those more addresses, though, under a tornado warning. And if you're getting that alert on your phone, you need to be taking shelter. I know there's been now emergency notifications sent out to the students at OU Norman to take shelter on campus, the ones that are there. So got to be taking shelter there right now. You see very strong wind. I need to see if we can see the stadium on here at OU, because that might help me here with some proximity to exactly where we're at with the university. I mean, I'm not 100% sure here. I haven't gotten in here on the topography really tight like this, and there's other stadiums, maybe high school ones. But I'm going to try my best here to get you guys a look. If I zoom in too tight, everything kind of goes away. I think I see something right in there, but there may be multiple stadiums here. So this is, if you're around Norman, you need to take shelter here. Right now, we're talking about those students. They're under the warning at OU, so it doesn't matter exactly here where we're at. I know if we get something near the campus, we'll probably know, but it may be after it's already happened. Tornado just north of Mustang just crossed I-40, moving to the north. That's being reported. A possible tornado on the west side of Goldsby, about to cross 35 now. So there's your possible tornado there. Looking at 35, I think it's already crossed 35. If I'm looking at the same area they are, that looks like it's already crossed 35 to me. As I'm looking here again, I'm trying my best because there's so much happening. Now, ping pong ball size hail reported in Bridge Creek. Let's go ahead and zoom back out a little to give you guys a better perspective real quick. But ping pong ball size hail reported in Bridge Creek. Possible tornado west side of Goldsby. I know getting some more warning messages sent out to people at different campuses, different places here across the region. There could be a developing tornado here right in this area here. So in terms of the geography, we're talking about here just into Cleveland County. This is just west of US 77 right now in this vicinity. So you need to be taking shelter. I know UCO students are sheltering in the library right now. Also a new tornado warning in north for Grant and Kate counties. That's further in northern Oklahoma. Possible radar indicated tornado near Medford moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. But again, we have meteorology students here that could be impacted by this tornado. As we look at the latest scans and the latest tilts here, you can see the greens and reds trying to come together here. But let's get to the north. Had a gust near the airport there, Will Rogers World Airport. Severe gust to 58 miles an hour. It's a very, very messy situation with all these different tornadoes here. These warnings in play. We have 3 in the metro. So let's kind of just tell you what the counties that are impacted are in the metro. Oklahoma Canadian, Central Oklahoma 10 Central. We also have Oklahoma Cleveland and Canadian to 10 Central. And then the one to the south here, Oklahoma, Cleveland, McLean to 10 Central. And we're being told now the circulation's right over the Weather Center now, right over the Weather Center there. So right near the OU campus, we have a tornado there that could be in progress here, at least based on radar indications. Nothing's actually been confirmed. That's really tightening up. Okay, folks, that's going to get a debris signature, I bet, here in just a moment. That has a classic look here. That it's close to getting a debris signature. We have winds of 66 one way now. We have winds of 50. That's 115 miles an hour. Don't have anything yet on radar on the ground, but it could be already there. There's where your tornado could be right here. If you're looking at the topography, you can see here, I think we are looking right there near, it looks like State Road 9 in this area. Also, as we look here at some other roads, I'm trying to get the best look. US 77. Okay, debris just northeast of the office, east side of Norman, tornado on the ground. We have a tornado on the ground, I'm being told. I think I can kind of see it on here. But they're now saying tornado noted just northeast of the office there, the Weather Service office in Norman. That's not what you want to hear. Power flash is also being reported up toward areas 3 miles southeast of Bethany now, off of a potential bookend vortex in West Reno in Oklahoma City. So we have another tornado up there now. Gotta be getting people in shelter. We have a tornado on the ground here, in proximity at least to the university campus there of OU. So again, this is a tornado situation we're dealing with. I feel like this debris signature is going to get really blue on us here. I hope I'm wrong though. We're talking about maybe some gusty winds there. Also at 240 Highway and Sooner Road. So let's go ahead and just keep looking here. I know radar is not going to give you the best look, but they're saying 40-mile-an-hour winds in that area, so that's a lot less there. But and that's starting to show some more debris. It looks like it's not as overwhelming, but that is definitely looking pretty nasty. And then it's got more co-located. Definite debris now, just north of Highway 9 and east of Classen there. So just north of Highway 9, and this is State Road 9, so I think we're talking about this road right there, and we're talking about this debris right here, folks. I know it's hard to see the geography, but they're saying this is a tornado over southwest Norman. Okay, are they talking about a different area then? I know this is really tricky. What do they mean by south? Okay, that's it. That's over southeast Norman, I would say. Maybe there's some reasons for that classification to be different, but that looks more like southeast Norman to me. Maybe you guys, if you're familiar with this area, know what they mean by southwest Norman, but that certainly looks like southeast Norman to me. Maybe they just made a mistake, or maybe that's just the way things are set with the city. I'm not sure, but this is south of Hall Park there. We're also getting a report of a 16-mile-an-hour gust there in an open space up towards Chickasaw there in Grady County, Oklahoma. We're just trying to give you guys the latest. That's why I'm kind of looking down a lot here, because there's just a lot of information coming in here right now. And this is getting close to that radar site there at KTXL, and that's getting even tighter now. By the way, new tornado warning in the north for Garfield County. Those aren't confirmed up there. As of last check, I'm not seeing those confirmed. So based on population density, based on that aspect, we're sticking with the ones down here for now. But just give me some of that energy debris, and it's a low level, 400 feet. So don't know how strong of a tornado this is, but there's a tornado on the ground here. As we're looking here, just north of State Road 9, Oklahoma 9 here. Also just east of Hall Park. This is a tornado on the ground in this vicinity here. You just gotta be in shelter. Let's get to the north here, and everything's really messy up here. But these boxes, we just have messes everywhere with these warnings, because the radar is getting impacted by the heavier rain, so it's really obscuring everything now, except the one dominant, it seems like dominant circulation here, just to the south and the east-southeast of Hall Park. So again, got to get in shelter, interior room away from windows here. We're seeing this confirmed tornado here on the ground. We're also getting reported now that there's going to be, and has now been a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for 70-mile-an-hour winds for Cleveland, Hughes, Lincoln, McLean, Oklahoma, Pontotoc, Pottawatomie, and Seminole counties in Oklahoma through about 10:15 Central Time. So just seeing that coming on out. You see our new severe thunderstorm warning for a very wide stretch in this regard. Definitely something to keep our eyes on there. Another tornado warning in the north now. So let's get up here. Another tornado warning in the north. We'll pop these on real quick while we have a chance. We have several possible circulations up here now. This is all over the place here. One northwest of Deer Creek. You have some more action there northeast of Bison. It's just a lot of tornado warnings we're dealing with. And those are threats here in northeast Oklahoma, maybe even southeast Kansas over the next little bit. And that circulation from the radar further up is really showing up tight there. We're also getting reports now here. This looks like a legitimate source here. Yeah, it is. David Reamer saying scanner traffic not confirmed, but power lines are down there off of 12th Avenue southeast of 9, and gas leak calls are now coming out in the Norman area according to the Norman fire frequency. So getting some issues there. We're seeing these very strong winds and that debris really picking up now. It's at a lower level, but these winds are really strong here. 90 miles an hour one way, 40 the other way. So in theory, we could have winds as strong as 130 miles an hour here in this area. Let's check topography. Where are we at? It looks like there are some houses out here. It's not as densely populated as right in Norman, but still, I mean, you got to be in shelter here, no doubt. And because this is a big problem for the area that it's impacting right now. This moves right toward that KTXL radar site here in short order. So just keep it on monitoring things here, checking everything, seeing if there's any questions from any of our viewers right now. I don't see any at this point, but just again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me here on this Sunday night to keep everybody safe and informed. We're just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what's happening from this national level threat, this national level perspective here, that we are seeing severe weather arise, and impact area is in central Oklahoma. You can see here, or trying to get the best views, but things are kind of obscure. We just know there's a tornado on the ground there, though. As this gets right, it's headed almost right for that radar site there. I don't know exactly. Looks like maybe some stuff's out there. Is that right at the airport? I mean, we have our terminal radar, so I'm kind of curious. Let me see here. Bear with me. Trying to get some information up. So gonna see. I might want to put our radar information up to see if it goes down on us too. But so this right here, I mean, it's just that site there. I mean, do I see any runways in here? I don't really see any runways, so this must not be right at an airport like some of the other radars in. But I could be wrong. Trying our best here. Again, there's your debris signature though, right here on the radar site. Definitely watching that, definitely monitoring all that as it gets further up here over the next few moments. It's headed right there again, right near, if you're near that radar site, KTXL, KTXL, that's headed right there. So that'll be in shelter. Maybe these other warnings here, some of these are being obscured, but they'll take shelter if you're in these boxes from now, especially northern edges. Southern edges, I don't think there's as much down there, but things are kind of obscured. I'm pretty sure there's not anything down there, but still on the southern edges. But again, right here, you see the circulation. It's hard to say how tight it is because we're so close. I mean, this helps for research, but having tornadoes on the ground is not what you want to see, obviously. It's just right there at the radar site. I mean, we're only looking 200 feet up or so with a tornado on the ground here on the Doppler radar scan. So considerable wind damage possible as we zoom back out now toward parts of Carter, as well as Cole, Garvin, Hughes, Jefferson, Johnston, McLean, Murray, Pontotoc, as well as Seminole, Stevens counties there. So I see one of our tornado warnings for Canadian Oklahoma has been canceled. Gusts of 57 there in Kingfisher County. That was a few minutes ago on Kingfisher, and the tornado is still in Cleveland County, just south of the radar site. So gotta keep hitting that point home as we get back on in right now there. In the metro, you can see here the greens and the oranges, Roy, as we have the debris showing up. We're at a very, very low level. I'll try to go up a little and tilt. I mean, it's probably going to go up on all these. Oh, yeah, you see it back there even. That's only a few thousand feet up there, that even high tilt I have there. But that's a tornado headed right, almost right at that radar site, which is remarkable, not in a good way. But it is interesting to see here from that meteorological and research perspective out here in Oklahoma. As we continue along live here, let me point out a little bit better, headed right in that direction there here over the next few moments. So again, these temperatures here are a factor in all this. You have the winds up on the screen. Some of these different numbers indicate the observed gust, but let's go ahead and take that off for a moment. Put on our temperatures here. These will be warm temperatures for this time of year, 50s and 60s, and with the overall wind pattern, that's enough here to cause problems. I mean, we're not in 20s or 30s, and we wouldn't have a situation like this, but be a different storm setup altogether at those type of temperature levels. But you're seeing all this energy come into play here and cause big problems. So again, we're going to zoom back out a little bit now as we continue along here to relay that information to protect you, your friends, and your family here on this Sunday night. We currently have, it looks like, as I do the math here, we have 6 tornado warnings on the board. This going to need to be thunderstorm warning, disruptive wind potential, parts there of Garfield, Grant, K, Kingfisher, Logan, and Noble counties in Oklahoma. That's going off on the phones there. Portions of those zones. And then a tornado warning continuing for the observed tornado over northeast Oklahoma or over northern Lake Thunderbird, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. So that's something to watch and something to really be mindful of. Tornadoes right in here, right near that radar site. Looks like there's some issues with some communication, at least around Norman, with Skywarn. So this is something that is coming out now, and this is getting in right near that radar. New tornado warnings coming for, it looks like, Pottawatomie and Lincoln counties to be for a tornado very close to the Twin Lakes radar. So that's the stuff we got to keep in mind here with everything that's going on. The new tornado warning coming downstream. You just got to be really careful. So again, debris now being lost about 7,000 feet with the tornado, they're saying. This is only showing 800. They must have the other radar up there that they're using. Maybe in Tulsa, maybe the other one. Let me see. You might be able to see it on that even. No, not that one. Let's try it. How about we go to Frederick? Let's see if it's showing up on that one. Maybe not. So let's go to Tulsa. Maybe that's the one they're seeing the debris on. You know, one of them's showing it. Yeah, I guess that's it right there, actually. That's 11,000 feet. But you kind of get the idea. We're trying to get the best radar scan here forward at it. I mean, we have the debris right at it. Hopefully we don't lose this radar, but we could, though, I think. It may be passing this to the south of it. It could be an illusion a little bit, but because we're just so low down now. But there's your tornado, probably right in that vicinity there now. You can kind of see that. You can see these colors of the winds coming together in this area as we continue to check everything here for you guys on this Sunday night. Try to give you guys that latest information here at about 10:35 Eastern, 9:35 Central here. So you guys know exactly what's going on. So you see that little bend there, and that's definitely problematic with the overall velocity we're seeing. Kind of a backward sea shape. I mean, that's stuff you hear about and see in meteorology textbooks. So again, I just gotta be watching things as they do progress on us. Again, the tornado is right there near the radar, it appears. We'll get further out, you can kind of see that up there, a little bit easier maybe. Hydrometeors that are not uniform, meaning instead of rain, it's pieces of debris being lofted up. Also getting reports of hail there. I reported spotters 6 miles northwest of Stella, Oklahoma, up to about 1 inch in diameter, and then tornado observed there toward Cleveland, Lincoln, Oklahoma, Pottawatomie, and Seminole counties. Tornado producing storm is located over southeast OKC or over Stella, moving northeast at about 55 miles an hour. So that's definitely a problem for those folks. Again, we're watching all this progress here on us, and I gotta be taking shelter in these areas. So again, just seeing all this kind of bending back on us, and there's your new warning as this progresses further on off here downstream. So again, just continuing to give you guys the latest. High winds approaching the community of Pink there in Oklahoma as the tornado remains near that radar site. So again, just continuing to watch things here. Just continuing to watch. We have the tornado warnings in play and quite a range. So again, the one that's most concerning right now is this one, though. We have that possible, and not just possible tornado, but based on radar and based on some information we're getting, it's confirmed. Probably it's still on the ground here at this point as we track it. So just gotta be really careful here in this area. Gotta be really, really careful here as we monitor things. And you have the current tornado warning. We have a Tulsa update now. So it's thunderstorm warning for Creek, McIntosh, Okfuskee, Okmulgee, and Pittsburgh counties in Oklahoma until about 10:15 Central Time. So got more of that wind potential moving in there. So just got to be really cognizant of all that. You see that new box being added to the screen. Got the tornado warning cluster in for northern Oklahoma. So there's just a lot going on right now. Seeing a tornado located over northeast OKC near Arcadia. Moving northeast at 60. The tornado warning continuing for that threat. So just got to be watching. You can definitely see the backward sea on this, though. That's definitely very evident. So we're going to take a quick break doing the coverage for now, just to get some new information and gather some of those details. I'll be back in about 9 minutes or more unless something really just pops back up on us. But continue to keep it here to cloud weather. We'll keep you guys up to date here on this Sunday night as things evolve. I know even if it's thunderstorm warning toward Wichita there, seeing that on my other map, we've been kind of focused on the one radar view, but 70-mile-an-hour winds possible, according to law enforcement there in that Wichita vicinity. I'll pop this up just real quick here for you before we take a break. Got to be really careful there. That was Sedgwick County, and then we'll just keep watching. I'll leave that broad view map up as we take that break here, and we gather the latest details to protect you, protect your friends, protect your family here on this Sunday night. So keep it tuned right here.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Back here in the Weather Center on this Sunday night, I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud, keeping you guys safe and informed. You do see several warnings in place. There are thunderstorm warnings, a higher level of winds, and then even tornado warnings for some confirmed tornadic activity here. As we've been watching it, moving away from Norman, some damage reported around Norman there. Now we're tracking this as it continues to progress toward the north and east. You see some of the communities that could be in the path here as we're watching this tornado warning continue for parts of Seminole County, Oklahoma, northwestern Seminole, southeastern Oklahoma, southern Lincoln, northeastern Cleveland, and northern Pottawatomie counties. And 10:15 local time for the tornado-producing storm. Getting just different power outage numbers. We're now in the tens of thousands without power now. And we're also getting power outages and power flashes now being reported in mile marker 123 on I-40 near Shawnee. So that's not what you want to hear. Obviously, more damage being caused. Getting reports from the areas around Duncan, Oklahoma, but tree there partially blocking the road. Also some damage to the side of a barn there on 42nd and Seminole. So gotta be really cognizant of that. And then in northern Oklahoma is where we have the 90-mile-an-hour wind potential now. This is being indicated by the office there in Norman. Destructive storms for communities like Blackwell and Billings and Perry in Oklahoma. A life-threatening situation as debris there could be flying, could be deadly to those caught without shelter, and mobile homes will be heavily damaged or maybe even destroyed as homes and businesses will have substantial roof and window damage and expect extensive tree damage and power outages according to the office there in Norman. So Ponca City, Blackwell, Perry, just some of those areas there among many that are being impacted by maybe winds of 7. You know, Ponca City kind of stands out there in terms of the higher population density there. So got to be cognizant of that as we get back down to the south now. You can see we have several 70-mile-an-hour thunderstorm warnings in play. You see 8 Oklahoma there. You see McAllister right on the edge. You have some of these other areas here as well. Mulgee, I know. We'll be watching toward Tulsa for now. This is just a quick scan here by me just before the update, and as I'm talking, it seems like things may, in the worst fashion, may kind of slide around Tulsa, but that's not definitive yet, and there's still a tornado watch in place, so don't let your guard down around Tulsa. But at least just as a preliminary glance here, it seems like things are kind of skipping around Stillwater and Tulsa here in a good fashion with the worst of the weather. It seems like this action kind of going away, this action kind of dipping on the south side, maybe clipping as you can see by my hand motion there, but we'll just kind of see. But it seems like there's going to be a little bit of gap here with lesser or quite a bit of less damage being reported there in that vicinity. But we'll wait and see. It's not over yet for them. But power flashes east of, it looks like mile marker 174 there, East Highway 40 being reported there. So this is toward Newalla there in Oklahoma, if I'm pronouncing that properly. That's according to Spotter Network information. Getting reports now, ham radio, Norman EOC saying they have multiple reports of damage all over the city. So once they can get the damage information, they're notified, and they're seeing if there's more stuff around Norman. But let me see what else we got here. Debris now north of Shawnee now near the interstate I-40. Let's get over there now. That's a tornado on the ground there for sure. I mean, we've had the reports, but you can see our tornado on the ground here right near the interstate. Reports of a tornado just crossing the interstate there that quickly. And we're also getting reports of goats and livestock trapped under a destroyed barn 5 miles east of Norman. That's coming in now. So there's your tornado that's on the ground, just not too far away from Johnson, Oklahoma, but right there near Shawnee, right near I-40 there. I wonder if there's some accent. Maybe it looks like maybe some gas stations or something. I can't tell for sure. Right near the interstate, it might have been hit. Based on that indication there, it looks like that could have been an accident. So you hate seeing stuff like that. If we had a tornado across the interstate, that could have impacted some of them, and maybe even the cars on the interstate there that came across it as it sat down right in that spot there, it seems. So that could be problematic, but we're just going to have to keep getting the reports in and passing them along to you as they do come on out. Currently, we have 3 tornado warnings down here. Some of these, I mean, you don't see much of anything in them, but some of the radar scans have been kind of weird, but I think most of those here are indicating now that this right here is probably not a tornado threat any longer out there. and this further to the south box isn't, but obviously this one is, as we're talking about this warning box in this area there. And then we have the warnings to the north there. We have areas south of Wichita with the tornado warnings, but then a thunderstorm warning right over Wichita there. Sedgwick County, we're talking about maybe winds of 70 coming on in right now over Wichita. We'll watch, we'll track it. Let's see what else we got. You can see there Sumner. You can see that county there being impacted. You see Grant County, K County, Garfield. We're just going to have to see exactly these circulations here on the board. See how they kind of twist on us and how they come together. But if not even that, I mean, we have winds maybe to 90 in here, according to the Weather Service, being transported to the surface. And that's destructive storms that we're talking about. As we get back to the south now, let's switch radars. Get back down to the Oklahoma City radar site, the main one. We're getting information, new tornado warning areas toward Garber, and then a confirmed tornado near Johnson, Oklahoma. And just some more information continuing to come on in. There's your debris signature. It's right over State Road in Oklahoma 18 right now. This radar scan, so now that's within the last minute or so at least. I mean, at this point, radar isn't a continuous scan, of course. So this is probably just past that by the actual tornado, but still, just kind of goes to see what we're dealing with here tonight. So just got to keep watching, keep tracking here as we continue to watch all of our different scans, and trying to give you guys the best look at the topography here and the names of everything. So let me go ahead and see what we have to deal with. You can see there, right there along State Road 18, we're seeing that. That's really tight there now. The winds aren't showing up extreme, but they're pretty strong. 30 one way, 60 the other. That could be a 90-mile-an-hour type tornado situation that's already moving off, as we've alluded to. So let's just keep that in mind as we continue to watch that move away from Oklahoma City, but now further over toward the east, further on over toward the north and east here, in the east-northeast. So got to be watching the progress of all this here this evening. We're just continuing to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family here on this Sunday night. It's about keeping people safe out there, folks. That's what we're doing here in the Weather Center. So just trying to make sure you guys are aware of exactly what's going on here. And I know we also had some information being asked here on Twitch, some different questions and the like. So I'll try to give you a little bit of a national update here real quick at least. So let's look toward the northeast and just see what's going on up there. We'll kind of see what's happening up in that vicinity. You can see temperatures 20s, 30s up here in parts of New York State and toward Maine, teens, single digits. And just kind of seeing some of that wintry precipitation even come into play, but more of that coming into play as we look ahead in the timeline from this bigger system that's impacted Southern California. It's going to be impacting the whole country here from west to east at least. I mean, maybe not as much in North Florida, but I mean, from west to east anyway, kind of traversing things in that picture. So it's kind of interesting to see that there as we're looking up and toward the northeast. You see the temperatures here in the southeast so warm. And it's kind of interesting to see how cool we are still in the west and the northwest as well. So just kind of give you guys a little weather tour there real quick, the best we can as we continue to get the warnings here on the board. We're just going to keep watching things, tracking things here for sure on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and Twitch. I just want to see what else we have. Just want to make sure we guys give you guys the very latest here. We just want to thank you, though, for tuning in, trusting me here on this Sunday night. So it looks like maybe a debris signature recording a meteorology, or medium meteorologist there towards southeast of Meeker, unloading debris now. Also, new tornado warning for radar indications, Garfield, Grant, K, and Noble counties. East at 70 is the movement on all of that. So that's something to keep in mind here as well as we continue to give you guys the latest. We approach 10 o'clock here. In the Central Time Zone, 11 o'clock in the east. Is Pauls Valley is not in the path of the storm, but the closest big city to reference on one of these is we have a circulation east of Palo, if I'm pronouncing that right, or Pali, and well northwest of Highway 19. So that's what we're down with in that vicinity there toward central Oklahoma, and then toward the south there, we're watching some different things. Severe thunderstorm warning way west of the DFW Metroplex. We'll watch that. But this is Pauls Valley here. as we get up there, we're watching things in that area. We're still watching an area, and weather services, at least they're telling us this in the chat, an area near Turner Falls, moving toward Davis there. So we're just going to keep watching all of that and giving you the latest updates, as we currently have 7 tornado warnings on the board right now, and 6, make it 7 severe thunderstorm warnings. That get all the categories added up and zoom out and see the one in Texas there. That's further on down, and then zoom out a little bit further even there on this Sunday night. So still watching this thread. I know it might be good to show the wind thread here real quick. This is where we had the moderate risk cut off past Tulsa. We'll just continue to watch the progression of things. You have this tornado warning down closer to Ada, Oklahoma now. You have Stratford there. We're watching the potential in that area. We just have to keep tracking everything as it does progress here. We just have to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on in this type of situation with these winds as well, these straight line winds that can be so dangerous and so damaging. Got to be mindful of those. You see our STP values really caught up with this action during the latest updates, and that can be an issue. You get some rotation there. We're also now getting some nasty reports there out of, it looks like, I want to make sure I get this right before I report it, make sure we're okay to report this. So it looks like there's some damage to the ambulance entrance there, the sign at least, at the OU Health Adult Tower. Sign faced west, but no damage significantly, at least to the facility itself. So that's good news. That's definitely some good news here in that regard, but still some damage to the sign, things like that. A tornado did come through parts of Norman. We're pretty sure on that. It's just exactly where it was impacted, how bad it was. We don't know for sure yet. I might not know until daylight tomorrow the exact extent of the damage there. Regarding all of that, it seemed like it was pretty close to all the different weather service offices there. There's national, local, all centered around Norman there. There's a lot of stuff there for sure. It's kind of like the center of weather here in the whole country, if you want to call it that, with so many different things, all pretty close proximity. So weather prediction center not there, but storm prediction center is, and then of course just some other things there as well. Of notice, we're getting new information in now. Osage, Pawnee counties now, 70-mile-an-hour winds there. We're talking about Tulsa office, storm to Turner Falls. Also, they're watching the Norman office in Davis, likely as Golf Falls on tail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. So definitely got to watch. Delayed damage report, roof blown off a mobile home and down power lines on Highway 36 north of Granfield. They'll be seeing exactly how things are going and getting that tornado watch mode there at emergency management in that region toward Tillman. But of course, still watching things here as we get later and later and deeper into the Sunday night with this coverage here. We'll see how far we need to go in the timeline based on how the storms are holding up. But for now, we'll stick with this with a certain type of warnings in play. But I know Tulsa, it seems like the Tulsa Metro, it's not an all clear yet. You're still under the tornado watch, but it's something that is looking maybe a little bit better for the Metro. We'll see though. Gotta keep watching, keep tracking. I know a report of a roof torn off a home in Hillsdale in northwestern Garfield County. Now maybe a tornado, maybe straight line winds. Excuse me, I know I've been talking a while, but emergency management here is reporting that they're not sure if it's a tornado or straight line winds that did that. That'll still have to be determined, of course. So now we're just going to keep watching. I know quite a few different things happening here on this national level. We're watching for the rocket launch maybe later on tonight on that local level as well, and how it looks like it'll be pretty clear for that around 1:45 as of last check there in the morning. But just continuing to watch here. Tornado watch in Oklahoma, severe thunderstorm watch in Kansas. A little bit of that tornado watch sinks down into Texas, though this convection is moving out of that county that's still in that there as we're looking down toward, looks like Wichita Falls and some of those vicinities in that region. So again, just going to keep watching, keep tracking here. We're seeing exactly what's going on here. Tornado circulation moving just east of Meeker and west of Prague there, or Prague, depending on the local pronunciation. Let's get back to this since we had to confirm tornado in this area. I want to make sure we get an idea of how the debris is looking. Definitely could still be some of that there in this region. As we've talked about, it looks like maybe the fallout. I want to double check because there's so much really of a mess here with all this. It seems like, yeah, that's the fallout from this then. So you can see how it's kind of expanded. There may still be something on the ground there, but also it could just be all the debris that's been lofted from everything we've had in here. It's kind of messy, not 100% certain what's going on, but it's about to cross Highway 62, whether there's a tornado there or maybe it's the fallout from the debris here, the piece of the debris that may be falling from the sky at least could still be evident towards some of these different areas. So just continuing to watch, continuing to track. I'm going to step out of the camera shot real quick as we continue to gather latest information here tonight. Just trying to give you guys everything you need to protect you, your friends, and your family. Just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on. That's just kind of the grand view. You see Oklahoma City, you still have some gusts behind this, so keep that in mind. It still could have some issues out behind the main line. We saw all that down toward Lubbock earlier, but hopefully the winds won't be as strong as they were down there. But we'll just wait and see. More power outage numbers coming on in, no doubt, and the number will be increasing as we look ahead here later in the timeline. So again, just still sticking with you here. We've been on, it looks like, for a little over 3 hours now. So just trying to give you guys the very latest. You see it on Sulphur there. Severe thunderstorm warning down there in Oklahoma. I know the sirens are sounding there in the northern part of Pontotoc County. Around Ada there, Oklahoma. We're watching a tornado warning there. 2 others, one near Pocket City, one here that's been confirmed near Meeker. So we still got to just keep on checking everything as the scans come on in, so you guys know exactly what's going on and what to expect here later on in the timeline. So I know we're just trying to see how the damage is being impacted. Definitely an anomaly and an anomalous event here that we're down with in late February 2023. I mean, you don't generally see this type of weather in February, this part of the country, or many parts of the country, really. That's definitely something to bear in mind, definitely something to keep in mind. So, again, we're at about 10:04 Eastern, 11:04 Central. New circulation, I'll spin it up just southwest of the community of Paden, or Patton, if I'm pronouncing that there right. I hope one of those pronunciations is right, but try my best with these local pronunciations. They can always be tricky on us. Seeing where that is, have to figure that out. May get a new tornado warning if that's something that's not already tornado warned. The things are just so wishy-washy. They're going to issue a tornado warning for that area, so we'll kind of see where that is here in just a moment if we can't pick it out right away. Okay, Creek, Ofusky, and Okmulgee counties now. Creek, Ofusky, and Okmulgee, so let's kind of see where that is. I mean, that's toward Tulsa there somewhere in that region. So let's see, there's Okmulgee, so down here is where we're talking. So we'll kind of just continue to watch all this here as it progresses on us on this Sunday night. I just want to make sure you guys know exactly what's happening here. And there's a new box, kind of where I thought it would be here. South of Tulsa, about a pretty good ways, which is some good news for them. But you see, again, that circulation there. Maybe not debris, that's currently being picked up is what I mean, but there may still be some of that remnant debris signature. So keep watching these different spins. It's just a tricky environment. We have QLCS stuff. We have other spin up stuff that kind of presents itself here from time to time as well. So this have to be kind of problematic, or kind of watching this problematic situation here as it does arise. So let's go ahead and take another break here for about 9 minutes, though, as I gather new information. So keep it tuned. Good cloud weather will keep you guys up to date on this Sunday night as we continue to watch this national severe weather situation.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center. It's about 10:15 Central here on this Sunday night. Continuing to watch all of our different scans. Bear with me here. Continuing to watch everything behind the scenes. Gathering that new information. I know currently have 5 tornado warnings on the board. Lincoln County, Oklahoma. That's one we've had a confirmed tornado. Then we have radar indicated tornado warnings for parts of Kay and Noble. There in Oklahoma, we have also Garvin, McLean, Pontotoc, and then over toward Pottawatomie and Seminole counties, Creek, Ofusky, and Okmulgee. And then in Kansas, we have Butler County under a tornado warning. Let's look at that one because we haven't looked up there as much. It's right there near the Augusta community in Kansas there. So this is a circulation there that's just been evolving over the last few minutes, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Wind to severe thunderstorm watch. And then we have Ponca City there. We have some strong winds, 70 miles an hour possible there. Outside the tornado threat in that vicinity, you see Tulsa, more just rain and lightning. They're getting lucky there compared to everywhere else pretty much. I think unless something changes, I mean, maybe back behind everything they get the wind, but the overall line is not coming through with as much force as we were expecting for Tulsa anyway. But still maybe behind it, some gustier winds. But then we have a tornado warning here. As we get toward, it looks like parts of Creek, Okmulgee, and Ofusky counties here. And then another tornado warning here as we get north of Ada, Oklahoma. So this is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 5 miles southwest of Byers, moving east at about 55 miles an hour. So again, this is going to continue to watch everything with all the different scans. Don't lay your guard down. We'll probably go off there in a little bit, but even when we go off, there'll still be some type of local threat for the local folks out here, something that you may want to keep an eye on with cloudweather.com/radar. Just look at the local National Weather Service offices, Norman, Tulsa, Wichita, and downstream of those for the latest on the threat, because it becomes a more local level situation unless we get something to really accelerate in terms of some type of tornado threat where we got a tornado emergency or something, which is not expected at this point to occur. But that's the only reason we probably come back on for this type of threat once we go off. But and that means we won't be back on to our formal update on Tuesday, more than likely Tuesday evening. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, so make sure you tune in for that. And then Thursday and Friday, I think it's important to re-emphasize the threats for Thursday, for Friday here, as we look ahead. For Thursday toward Jackson, Mississippi, that general vicinity, already an enhanced risk of severe weather this far out. So we're going to keep that logo red, it looks like, for that threat on Thursday. But then also our South Georgia counties, a lot of those already under a slight risk of severe weather for Friday. I mean, that is very far out, and that goes through Atlanta, through Charlotte. So a lot of details are still nailed down. We'll be nailing them down, that update on Tuesday a little bit more. I've covered on Thursday, national, local, as needed, and hopefully nail more things down, and then Roy watch things maybe toward that Friday timeline, and we're in the month of March at that point there, later in the week. So something to kind of keep our eyes on. That could be a more substantial tornado threat, especially on Thursday, but not 100% sure on that yet. There's still more details to work out, and we did have a tornado down there in the Norman area, so that's still a big deal tonight. And then the wind damage, the power outage numbers are going up. In fact, let me go ahead and give you some new power outage numbers. So what I'm going to do is step off the screen just real quick here. Bear with me. We're continuing to keep you guys advised. So let me go ahead and gather those numbers now as we continue along here. We're trying to give you guys just the very latest on what's happening in the Weather Center and our weather department. So let me just see what I got here in terms of some of the different readings here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get our latest from PowerOutage.us. Right now, Texas, we have 39,858 customers in the dark, but Oklahoma now, 61,839 customers. A big increase, but maybe not bad as it could have been, but a big increase in outages here. We have Canadian County, about 7,821 customers in the dark. Cleveland County, I know that's toward Norman. We're talking about 16,895 customers in the dark. Oklahoma County, toward Oklahoma City, 11,088 customers in the dark. McLean County, 3,201. Pottawatomie County, 3,740. Stevens County, Comanche, we have some outages there in the southern part of the state as well. So definitely something to keep our eyes on here in that regard here in the Weather Center. So just keep getting new updates in. It's always important to pass along the new details here to you as they do come on out. So that's what we're trying to do, at least for a little longer here, a little bit later in this coverage. It'll be a situation where it'll be more of a local situation, more for the local viewership versus being a national threat. So only to be on at that point, it doesn't look like. But we'll stay on a little longer to keep you guys up to date here. So let me go ahead and see just what else is happening here in that chat room there with the National Weather Service in Norman. We're just trying to give you guys the very latest on everything that's happening. I know, seeing with this moderate risk 4 to 5 day exactly what's transpiring here and what could still transpire over the next little bit. I know a tornado warning continuing for parts of Pontotoc as well as Pottawatomie and Seminole counties here in Oklahoma at about 10:45 local time. So that's something to keep our eyes on here for sure. Gust of 59 earlier in Kingfisher County being reported. So definitely some valuable information that we're kind of learning here. Just trying to see these significant winds here setting on up as well, no doubt. Definitely seeing those come to fruition here a little bit more so in some of the different communities. It just depends exactly where you're at, though. I know TrainSpotter reporting a power line, actually multiple down along Highway 7, 1 mile east of Hennepin in Oklahoma. That's something to be bearing in mind as we go ahead and just keep on checking everything that's coming on out here from the Weather Service offices here in the region. So currently we have, it looks like 6 tornado warnings on the board. Lincoln County, Oklahoma, then also Cole, Hughes, over toward Pontotoc. So just gonna keep watching there. Just gonna keep watching the scenario. Seminole County, K, Noble, and we're seeing Pottawatomie under 1. Butler, Creek, Ofuskie, Okmulgee. No Butler's in Kansas for reference. Although Tulsa radar in northern Ofuskie County is reporting 70 knot winds, 2,000 feet up. So that's some substantial wind that we're talking about in this type of situation. So definitely something to bear in mind here. Just continuing to watch everything as I go ahead and step back in front of the key wall now on this Sunday night. We're just going to see these warnings continue. You see this one tornado warning there in southeastern Kansas. We have a tornado warning there. Butler County. We're just going to see these areas of rotation here along this and different spots kind of still emerge from time to time. Now let me go ahead and see what we have on our other radars here. I know the terminal radar in Tulsa they were talking about, so let's get to that. Let's see what we got there. And you can see some of these areas of rotation here. So let me take it. Let's go ahead and take it here. You can see there the word Welty. You can see in Creek County near the interstate there. Also near, that's the I-44 we're talking about, it looks like. So we're just going to keep checking everything there. You see Ada, Oklahoma, tornado warning down there. That's continuing there for parts of Cole, Seminole, Pontotoc, and Hughes until 11 Central Time. Ada, Allen, Francis, Calvin, some of the communities under that. It looks like Fitzhugh, Stewart, and then over toward Atwood. So trying to do our best with the local pronunciations there. A gust recently in Maury County, Oklahoma. Looks like they're to about 69 miles an hour with some of this action down here. So you see some of this action down in this area. I know we're seeing Maury County back there. So you see the community of Sulphur. Now it's kind of hard to make out, but you can kind of make out the word Murray there. That was just above my hand. That's where we're tracking some of that wind up to about 70 miles an hour a moment ago, knocking out some power in that vicinity. So again, still just keeping our eyes on all of this. Nothing really just terrifying here right now in terms of just an overwhelming signature, but it still doesn't mean it couldn't be life-threatening for some folks here on this more localized level here. So just keep watching, keep tracking. Again, I don't want to lay your guard down in Tulsa, but it just seems like, based on the wind pattern, it's going to be more about the winds outside the thunderstorms and non-thunderstorm winds. As the Lincoln County tornado warning has been canceled in Oklahoma. Sirens sounding again there in Ada, Oklahoma. Got circulation right in that area there. And look at that heat. And this is actually, I need to switch radars, so give me a second here. We're going to go down to the right radar for this area and try to give you guys a better perspective. So give our system a moment to catch up. But you can see we had a nasty signature, and it's still pretty nasty on the closer radar then. Some big hail maybe towards State Road 99, Oklahoma 99, upward to $half size, so in accordance with the service. And then you see this passing Ada as we have that latest circulation that's tornado warned. Currently 5 tornado warnings now. Not needing much for that wind momentum to drag down is what they're saying there, meteorologists. So definitely something to keep in mind. And a tree top damage to US Highway 60 and R Street in K County also being reported, so keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind. That's from OHP. And then circulation over Ponca City, not too strong, moving northeast of town and out of town soon, but another area of weak rotations is south of Ponca City. That switches to better radar here. We'll kind of give you guys a gauge on what's going on. I want to make sure it's not behind me, and you can kind of see. We're just checking all this, and then also getting reports of the town of Stonewall, Oklahoma, has lost power. So that's something new just coming in here to the chat session. So still watching all that, still tracking all that. You can kind of see here some of the areas that could be impacted a little bit later on, maybe Bartlesville in Oklahoma. We'll just be tracking all this progress here, trying to give you guys the very latest in that regard. So just checking more things here behind the scenes as we continue along in the coverage here, at least for a little bit longer. So again, I was just trying to give you guys an understanding of the situation at large here as it does progress on us. So that was the Vance Air Force Base radar site. Let me go ahead and go back on over now. We'll go back over to the broad perspective here, and you can kind of see the temperature trends. You see some more temperature to the south, but we're not getting the warnings now down here. Maybe some stronger gusts, but not necessarily severe in nature, which would be some good news as we're looking here down toward the south. Maybe a little bit of weak rotation there near northwest of Decatur, possibly. That might be worth exploring. The way it was showing up on our other radar there might be interesting. I wanted to see that real quick. Okay, it's not a Roy type. There's a little something there. So let's say that to you guys. And we'll watch. We'll see what happens with that, but nothing overwhelming. Let me get back to the north. Get back to that Oklahoma City radar. Cleveland County, 1 mile west southwest of Stella. It's possible tornado damage, sheet metal on the road, trees damaged at the location there that the report's coming from, and spotter network. Excuse me, I apologize. I've been talking for a while here, but again, overall trend would seem to indicate the whole storm complex is weakening according to an academic meteorologist there in the Tulsa area. It's weakening to some degree, particularly if you look at the number and severity of the wind reports in the last hour versus 2 to 3 hours ago, although still quite strong. And it should be taken seriously, and that's a good message to say. So maybe more on the local significance level, but less on the historic level. So just something to keep in mind. I see a new warning's been issued, and I'm curious about it. I want to see what the counties exactly are included in this here. I mean, you see all these strong winds aloft, and it's kind of interesting exactly what's going on here in the grand scheme of things. So just got to kind of keep watching all of our different scans. I know here, and some tornado warnings go away, some thunderstorm warnings go away. I know we talked about Tulsa not getting the worst of this, but it looks like a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, at least for parts of Tulsa County now. It's just kind of the overall scheme of things. And okay, I see they've gone with it for Tulsa proper. It's really messy, this convection here. I mean, we'll go ahead and show it to you. It's intensified a little though, and that's why they've issued a warning now for this area. So that's kind of intriguing, because you wouldn't necessarily expect a warning for something like this. But the problem is, even with the heavier downpours, the lighter showers, it's not gonna necessarily be a situation here where it takes that much rain to get the wind down to the surface. That's why they issued a warning. 70 mile an hour winds possible here could cause some power outages. I'm not overly impressed by it, but there is at least a little bit of intensification here. It seems to be going on with this now. So that's what I kind of wanted to emphasize. Don't let your guard down, even though it doesn't look that impressive. And I'm not sure that it is. It's not going to take much to get these winds. So even if it's kind of backside stuff, there's enough rain to call them thunderstorms here to maybe a little bit of lightning mixing in. So kind of an interesting delineation. There is an official thunderstorm warning there. So just kind of have to be watching that. You see Okmulgee here getting into some of this. Maybe a little bit bigger threat down there with a heavier convection. We'll just have to wait and see. You see Ponca City there getting past some of this here in the next few moments, but not quite out of it yet there with the downpours and the ongoing convection. I know we're way far on the radar, but you see that really nasty signature on Stonewall, already getting some power outage reports there, as we were referring to those a few moments ago. So again, just going to keep watching, keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. So I know severe thunderstorm warning continuing for parts of Atoka, Cole, Hughes, Johnston, Murray, Pontotoc, as well as Pottawatomie and Seminole counties until 11 o'clock Central Time. So we'll keep our eyes on that. That's the new information just coming in out of the Oklahoma City, this last Norman office there. So we're just going to keep watching that. Also now to Bryan County, so let's get back down here. This is going to be southern areas here, really. If we're talking, there's a report now that power pole down in the Calera area there at South B Street in Wilson. So that's some new information that's being referred to. Again, there's a severe thunderstorm warning here. It's interesting. I mean, it's not just something that's, screaming severe thunderstorm. Because, I mean, I'll put it on. Let me put it on this one. This is going to be one satellite view. So there's more lightning on there. That's the satellite lightning is what I mean by that. Not satellite view, but you get what I mean. There's going to be some lightning in there, but it doesn't suck quite as much on here as it maybe generally would in some of these situations. I saw a view report earlier from Lawton, 85-mile-an-hour winds confirmed by home weather station there. So could be getting some more issues from that area there coming in later on. We'll see. That's down in the southern part of the state, but just going to keep checking here the different scans. This is where we're probably seeing more of that wind energy trying to get down to the surface, less to the north probably, but right here, this could actually be pretty significant here. We're looking toward Ofusky County, we're moving toward Beggs here over the next little bit, or Mulgee, Haskell, Coweta. Maybe we'll see exactly how this kind of progresses here over the next little bit with that motion. So just keeping on giving you guys the latest here. Zooming back out a little bit in our coverage, trying to give you guys a look at the grand scheme of things. Just trying to, I should check the terminal radar. This could help us out some in this area. You can see some of that wind there. We're watching it, trying to get further on into the picture. So definitely kind of intriguing in that regard. So again, just having to kind of give you guys an update on the overall hyperlocal impacts, the bigger national impacts here for folks. So I think we're taking another break here in the coverage. I'm hopeful here that next segment here may be the last one and we're able to wrap it up, but we're not quite to that point yet with the considerable warnings in play. Still a couple tornado warnings on the board, and we're Tulsa officially been under a warning. Don't want to relax coverage quite yet in case things were to ramp up a little more. We saw that increase in the southern part of the Polygon more than the northern part, so we'll keep our eyes on things. We'll monitor it here for you. Could get some issues there, and we'll just continue here to watch all the different trends on our Doppler radar technology here as they progress here over the next little bit. I see about 1,170 customers in the dark in Bryan County, Oklahoma. That's the Bryan County Emergency Management reporting that. So getting more numbers coming in. Goffball size hail now north of Stonewall, Oklahoma. $half size reported in downtown Stonewall. So some pretty big hail being reported there. We'll watch all the different atmospheric processes, the warnings, the geography, all of it together here, at least for the next little bit.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center. We're sitting at about 10:43 Central Time, 11:43 Eastern on this Sunday night. Probably be our last update here, unless things change on us here over the next few moments, because it's turning into more of a local level storyline versus a national storyline. Of course, tornado damage apparent toward Norman, which is a pretty big deal there. And we've been covering that action here for you as it was moving through there close toward Oklahoma University there. So toward OU, but we're going to go ahead and keep looking at some of the action. We do have one destructive severe thunderstorm warning right now, but I kind of highlight that for you there as we get down here east of Ada, Oklahoma. Some of the worst of this, just east of Stonewall, just coming through there, and really the worst of it, north of Patoka, but you're under that warning there as well. So I'm going to keep watching that. You see our considerable warning, include Tulsa. I know we were kind of seeing this break in the action there. It's kind of filled in on us. It seems like the worst is still Mortal or Okmulgee, though, but we're watching Tulsa just in case. But, I mean, you're looking there. You're not seeing a whole bunch on the radar here. I mean, it still could be a situation where it doesn't take too much to get this wind down to the surface, though, with the winds there in this setup. So you got to keep that in mind. We're just getting updates on this. I'm going to see if we got a new polygon or anything like that. You see Ponca City. Yeah, we just got a new polygon. They actually cleared. That's kind of what I'm thinking. They cleared areas there. Tulsa, Wasso there, Claremore. I mean, the bad is up. You guys were kind of there on the edge of that, but now the focus is to the south here, not really in downtown Tulsa. So that's some good news. We have the tornado warning, the only one still toward Ponca City. It seems like things have been staying around there for a while, but just going to keep our eye on that. And some of this passing by Wichita now. They had gusts to 60 miles an hour around Wichita there, Sedgwick County. So just kind of intriguing to see all of that here. In the grand scheme of things, and just looking at all our information coming in, trying to give you guys the very latest here. And still gotta watch if you're looking at from the national level. We'll be paying attention to this in case anything develops, but really it's more of a local level story. You see more of that 30% wind toward Fayetteville, Arkansas, Springfield, Missouri, and then you kind of just see what's happening downstream, maybe even in central Missouri, a 15% wind risk. Tornado threat still to some degree up there. Lowers, though, you see we're out of the 10% now, so that's good. I mean, storm approaching southwest Pittsburgh County may be somewhat elevated, but the environment continues to evolve across the area ahead of the storms. The confidence in the there is not 100%. It's not high, that confidence level. So just got to keep watching that. There's still a tornado watch in play all the way to the Arkansas border with Oklahoma, with Missouri here for next little bit, and we may get some local extension or new type of watches issued out here. We'll have to wait and see. No mesoscale for further out. Yeah, they might talk about it in that one. Now, let me see. Yeah, they're saying that damage and threat will still continue. We're talking about tracking across north central Oklahoma to the Kansas border. At least port mesovortex generation for a couple more hours. So definitely important to kind of touch on that. And we'll be watching downstream. You see some of the areas. I mean, especially Fayetteville will be watching. I mean, this areas near Joplin, definitely keep our eyes on things. But it seems like this is more of a local threat. Still important for local viewers to be watching that's down out then that way, in that direction, but kind of slacking off in terms of that national level threat. Again, just keeping our eyes on it, keeping you guys informed here for a few more minutes. We're going to be wrapping up soon, I think, based on all the trends that warning getting out of downtown Tulsa. No active tornado warnings, but still a destructive severe thunderstorm warning down here. But out ahead of it, they went with considerable. McAllister there, you see that. That probably was just issued pretty recently. Yeah, we had tornado warning earlier on. Still maybe some hail in here too. This came through Stonewall, Oklahoma. So definitely important to watch from that local level. You see storms moving toward Dallas. Some cooler air coming in behind as well, or trying. But we have some gusty winds still behind, as we've alluded to as well. Still some gusty winds out there. You see all these METARs. I mean, these are some pretty strong gusts. Lower pressures there in place. So definitely an intriguing situation we're dealing with in that regard as we continue to keep you guys up to date. So just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on. There's power added numbers coming up some as we continue this along here to give you the very latest. You see up toward parts of Kansas there. Seeing some of that threat up there as well in terms of a severe thunderstorm watch and play for a little longer. Let me go ahead and step here. I'll kind of see you guys what we're talking about in terms of some of our different threats here. I said this just again a moment ago, but you can kind of see what we're dealing with. And in fact, I'll kind of step on over here real quick in our shot just to kind of see a different perspective on things. Again, this threat here is more about, I mean, it's over in terms of the axial convection severe, but you still have the aftermath in terms of the gusty winds back here. But this is where we have some of the worst of this, and then you have all the threat here still out ahead. Lowers, I mean, from 45 wind to 30 wind out there. So this is something to kind of keep our eyes on here in that regard. We're just going to keep tracking. I see Fayetteville reporting a pretty strong gust there already in Arkansas out ahead of things. That's kind of noteworthy there as we're looking into more parts of Arkansas. So we're just going to keep watching this weather pattern, weather picture here, see how things look here on the satellite. I know, pop that up. You can see some of that there. It's not showing up the darkest in terms of the colder cloud tops. You see some of that in Iowa. Interesting. There's some lightning, but I haven't really seen the severe threat up there. It doesn't look like with the overall setup. Just the overall pattern that we're dealing with, though, presenting some of those different hazards. So something to kind of keep our eyes on there. But I do want to go ahead and switch gears again. We talked about it earlier. I think it's worth mentioning again, really. We had just a terrible, terrible thing happen on Wednesday here. Not related to weather, but related to journalism here, where we had a reporter there, former anchor and reporter WCJB TV 20 in Gainesville, and a reporter there that was doing his job from Spectrum News 13 on Wednesday in Central Florida, Dylan Lyons. He lost his life there, killed while covering a homicide in the Orlando area. And he was such a familiar face here to North Central Florida viewers. I really just kind of admired his work there because he did so much. Even in Bradford County, where we're based in North Central Florida, we're doing his national level coverage from North Central Florida. And he was such a familiar face here. He really just put so much into his work. You could just tell by the reports that he did. And it's just terrible to see what happened there with this loss. So again, extending my heartfelt condolences and thoughts and prayers to Dylan's fiance, family, friends, and colleagues during this terrible, terrible time. I know, hearing some of the reports there on TV 20 over the week, anchor there, Lisa Sicasio, talking about how if you knew Dylan, you loved him. And I never met him. Just watching here, though, from this local level, you could just tell he put so much work into his stories and really tried to do a great job. You could tell his personality there on the air as well. It's just terrible. This terrible loss there. Again, thoughts and prayers here in this situation. It's just something that you never expect to see somebody losing their life at only 24 years old, and just such a horrible way, horrific way there with that killing down there towards Central Florida. So again, let's go ahead and try to transition now. I know this is tough to do when we go from something that's so somber here back to weather, but we'll go ahead and try to do the best we can. So you can see here, looking toward parts of southeastern Oklahoma, we have that destructive warning still, but again, McAllister and those areas down there, the parameters maybe aren't as favorable. You see the risk kind of drops off, where we have the risk more favorable. We have the overall threat here. It kind of still lingers, of course, but we're not seeing as many polygons right now. But keep an eye on things. I know we have cloudweather.com/radar when we're not on the air, so keep that in mind. I know, just checking here, some different sirens go off based on the different criteria, but no active tornado warnings. Doesn't mean we won't have more. Probably we'll have some more tornado threats, maybe even some more touchdowns of tornadoes here in the overnight as we get a spin up. Some more likely versus anything too significant, but with the wind pattern, you never know. So keep an eye on those local level methods of communication there. The National Weather Service offices, those local media partners there for that local threat if you really want to be in tune to that out there. Of course, we cover our 62 counties on our local level, but national level have to meet certain criteria, and things are slacking off enough. We're going to go ahead and relax coverage now here in this, I know, just an anomaly in terms of the weather, though. I mean, we're talking about a situation where in late February, a 4 to 5 severe the risk. And they're getting a tornado there in Oklahoma in February toward Norman, probably some others as well, based on the different debris signatures and reports. No doubt we had more than that one, maybe several. I mean, sometimes in this situation, things aren't as apparent at first, and you end up finding more. We saw that in Minnesota back there in December of 2021. We had so many reports there, just so surprising to see that many pop up eventually. Iowa there, I mean, you had just so many reports there in that situation. We had 2020 where we had just all that wind. It didn't reach that level in terms of power outages. I don't think it's going to get to that level at this point for sure, but we could have had more tornadoes than we think. We have a good number out in the dark, but nothing like what it could have been. But still, you never know. I mean, still could have people hurt We don't know the full extent of the damage yet. It could take until daylight tomorrow to really get a better handle on what happened in terms of the severe weather threat. So just going to keep our eyes on all this here in the Weather Center. And we'll probably be back on Tuesday with that formal update. We'll be there, if not before, of course. But that's what I mean. We'll be on Tuesday, of course, if we don't have anything before then. But otherwise, we'll see you on Tuesday, and we'll have coverage later in the week, more than likely Thursday, Friday. Big national severe threat, a pretty significant threat word in that vicinity, at least. Big area around Jackson, Mississippi, and then on Friday, South Georgia counties locally already under a risk of severe weather. It's getting pretty far out there. You can get that map at cloudweather.com/severe as you go through the different days there with the extended outlook, and then not just South Georgia, but all the way up through Atlanta to Charlotte. We have a threat of severe weather on Friday, so it's going to be a pretty busy week in the Weather Center. We'll keep you guys informed, but for now, we're going to go ahead and wrap it on up here in terms of that coverage. We've tried to do the best we can to keep you guys safe and informed during this Sunday night, and we'll see how the damage reports kind of stay going out here from this national level situation. You see the watches continue to report to Kansas and Oklahoma. Bigger threat still eastern Oklahoma, but we'll see how that translates up toward Arkansas, Missouri here in the later timeline. And then tomorrow we'll have a slight risk in play toward Indianapolis as well, for instance, here in Indiana and some of those surrounding areas. That's something to keep our eyes on. Again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. Have a great night.